Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hate plotting my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding niggas out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably dollar sign. Got the energy to win it, my nigga, I'm feeling great. Got a day with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a fuck what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't, it can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ayy, 12 can't really stop shit, so I'm still pushing like a mosh pit. Ice dripping, think I'm hot shit. In a yellow bucket with the mop stick. I've been jugging jams like wholesale. Everything must go sell. Hitting bitches with the old well. Need 100 million on the low scale. On my worst night, I'm the best nigga. Wouldn't mess with you, couldn't cap to him. Homie spotted me like 700, brought 1100 right back to him. If I can't do it, then it ain't real. I just make dollars, I don't make deals. I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing kush clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
And we are live and ready to go here tonight in the Titan Conqueror League. I'm Isaac. Alongside me tonight is Geppetto, bringing you the matchup between TMG Demon Hunters and Glacial Spectre. You there? Well, I mean...
Yeah, it's good to be here. I'm excited for this match. Oh, sorry. Yeah, internet doing some things. Hopefully,
classic host connection
shortly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll introduce these two teams while we're hopefully figuring that one out. TMG Demon Hunters themselves, 3-0 so far the split. Meanwhile, Glacial Spectre not nearly having the same amount of prowess that the Demon Hunters have done so far. Kind of in a must-win situation at this point in the season, sitting 0-3. Not had the best of times at it so far, Geppetto.
Unfortunate as it is, yes. Seems, we're still early on in the split, so teams have a lot to learn from scrimming, playing their matches, and getting through the league. I've been talking about this quite a lot this week on different broadcasts about the how teams have gone around Fearless and how it's adapted over the course of the year. So specifically around, long form games, this is obviously only a best of 3, but how that they're going to go around drafting. And I think the teams have gotten quite a lot better in that regard.
Well, speaking of draft, we're starting to get into it straight away. And so for the side of Team G Demon Hunters, one thing that sticks out for me in their champion pool is how they're going to use the Mel and the Tristana, as both Vrang and Deli both play that champion, and it could be very easily swapped between mid and bot for this team.
Well, Zyra ban as well. Bit of an interesting start. Not something that has been super prioritized. I actually think that Ashe is a little bit underrated right now. Been playing her a little bit. I think that she feels quite good at around 3 or so items onwards, as ADC typically does. But yeah, it feels quite good. So not against seeing that ban. The Aphelios, obviously a target ban, but Rumble, something that I'm not too used to seeing in these elos. Rumble, one of the strongest top laners, but typically only in pro play. But yeah, good to see that some of these teams down here can play it as well. Karma, great in the push, and Nocturne, really good skirmishing jungler, as the Jax is locked in here first for TMG. Pretty good flex potential here for jungle or top. It might be a bit of an awkward blind, but it's good to see here early. There's the Syndra you were talking about.
Yeah, and the Jax, especially for TMG Demon Hunters, specifically is one that I'd say is more likely going to be into the hands of Olves and the jungle, just specifically on how they've played out their draft so far in this season. So I suspect, especially with Viego showing, if I recall correctly, that seems like a pretty okay Jax matchup, especially with the Counter-Strike. But Mel is one that the Demon Hunters have definitely really liked, and I was going to mention its flex potential toward the bottom lane, but it will be Jinx for Delhi.
Well, it could still be flexed towards the support role, mid as well. I'm hoping we don't see anything like a Mel top lane Tristana, the answer into the Jinx. So we've got a lot of range coming in here, at least in terms of the auto attacks, and some pretty decent scaling as well. I'd say that Jinx does end up winning out on that, but GSP right now have such a great corridor fight, right? If you're against a Tristana and a Syndra in a tight corridor and you're walking forwards into that, even though Jax has his Counter-Strike, it could be detrimental to walking into that. A lot of support-focused bans here, so GSP predicting this Mel going into mid, not into the support. So the Nautilus, the Braum, the Leona, and rounding out the support bans here will be an Ornn ban here as well. I mean, we've seen Ornn support in the past, but most likely that'll just be a top lane blind. I'd love to see a support here for GSP, or take away your top lane. You might already know the matchup. It might be a jungle Jax, so we'll have to see. There's the Renekton, sorry.
Yeah, Renekton's a really safe pick, and it is one of the standards of the draft. Okay, I was not expecting to see a Mel fight out of Terps, but they're going to. I'm going to have to assume going to be going into the Renekton, going to be able to stack up that armor and basically take no damage. I mean, there's a lot of AD that Glacial Spectre have spec'd into with their draft.
I'm really a bit shocked about the Nami into something like a Malphite and a Rel. I mean, I know that a lot of players are really fond of the Enchanter support style, but I think that was such a great Alistair angle, allow to a bit of peel onto the Malphite. It's really good into Rel, although it is, a skill matchup. But yeah, the Nami, I'm not convinced by. I think the rest of the team comp is pretty good, but I'm really struggling to see engage for GSP other than hitting a random bubble or maybe a tidal wave. But for TMG, I think the comp is really solid. You've got great range with Mel and Jinx. You've got amazing engage with Jax, Malphite, and Rel. I think the comp just smacks.
Yeah, you've got a lot of the circles, the danger circles between the Magnet Storm and the Unstoppable Force. Even Mel's E, I believe, with the snare coming through on top of that, and Trax's Counter-Strike, hop in, get into the middle. If you get a little bit too close together, all of these CCs will be layered on top of each other, and there's definitely more than enough damage from the Demon Hunters as well to follow up on the CC they have available. So a very, very strong team fighting composition. But on the side of Glacial Spectre, even though it might not be the most cohesive composition, I do like, in the case of this being a fearless game, picking up the Tristana, especially of how the Demon Hunters have equally flexed that between the mid and bottom lane throughout this season. So removing that from the potential pool of champions, I think, is one that was worthy of the pick.
Yeah, I like it too. I think that these two teams, got a lot to say here. Scrapping up against each other. Obviously, 3-0 up against 0-3 first versus 7th is a bit rough, but if you want to win the league, you need to be beating every team. Now's a good time to start.
Yeah, and now's, with how much time there is left getting to that midpoint of the season, now's about the time that I would say Glacial Spectre kind of have to start. I mean, maybe not just yet. Perhaps they could pull a comeback by winning out if they do lose this week, which is as expected considering the performances of these two teams coming into this week. But I mean, if you pull off a win against TMG Demon Hunters, that definitely that's going to be probably the most notable victory of the regular season for sure.
Well, I'm going to ask if we're going to be able to take a short break just on our side so I can hopefully sort out some internet stuff. Hopefully we won't be too long on the way back as we also wait for Spectre delay.
And we have loaded onto the Rift for game 1 between TMG Demon Hunters and Glacial Spectre. Sorry for the delay. It took a little while.
My bad, guys. My bad.
Yeah, it happens every now and then.
Sounds better now, though, for me. Yeah. I'm able to see what's going on and actually hear you, as opposed to just interpreting what you might have said, which is what I was kind of doing before. But if you saw from the original opening of the cam there, we are indeed at Worlds 2025. This is Worlds, guys, if you didn't know.
Yeah, Vrang, my favorite world-class mid laner, landing a snare down onto Molly Wops. Alves might be able to leaf strike forward if he's leveled that. Don't know about that just yet. It would be a bit of an odd thing to level first. Actually, we'll see the counter-strike dropping onto Stupid Goober. The snare finds Molly Wops, sends him down to half HP. Alves and Vrang especially. We haven't even had the minions crash just yet. It's already popping off.
Terp's coming in here to just, scare him away a little bit. But this is, really bad. You can see 2 pots already needing to be popped by Mollywops. That was a sentence and a half that I just said there. But, yep, going to make the laning phase ever more difficult. Vrang, having quite a lot of range and poke. And Syndra can match that. But the fact that she's got first strike in a matchup that I'm not quite convinced she's going to be allowed to proc that very often. But there's one right there, so one for the road.
So not completely worthless just yet. I mean, a bit of a little. I mean, the classic caster curse, alive and well.
That's
that's where we're at. But I mean, all around, even in the top lane, Terps, I mean, actually is not going to hit level 2 first as expected, but even in those level 1 exchanges, was also getting quite a few decent grass procs off on the Malphite as well. So all around, TMG Demon Hunters starting relatively okay.
Yeah, both these teams have pretty solid late game scaling. You need some armor with the Malphite. You're going to need levels on the Jinx and items on the Jinx and the Mel. But on the other side, Syndra needs time to get the stacks, Tristana the range, and Viego does really well late game now with the more crit focused build that he's been going. So we might see some scrapping early as a jump in.
Going to opt to the rocket jump, gets the full proc onto Deli, but now the counterattack from the bot lane of TMG Demon Hunters evens up that trade.
Very nice. All in there. Look, as a flick back comes through.
Stun, gets a decent chunk down onto Ethereal Ice, will dodge out the zap. And actually slightly favored in terms of the trades toward the bottom lane of Glacial Spectre.
Been really scrappy down there, but as you can see, GSP do have the red ward, the red side ward at the entrance to the bot lane of the Tri-Brush there. So if Alves wants to come through, that'll be spotted out. And Stupid Goober already getting the bot side scuttle hovering around. So this will be a camp up. Alves really needs to pipe up to the top lane right now, drop the scuttle and go for top crab. But looks like Stupid Goober might be pathing up there as well. Don't know if Alves is going to be allowed to get this crab here.
As we can see, as you mentioned, Goober is moving to the top side of the map, though a little bit less of an aggressive move there. Seems moving now into that river, but Scuttle Crab already claimed by all, so just a relatively even trade of camps, but a flash away from Mollywops will be an advantage to TMG Demon Hunters.
It reflected one auto there. Very nice. Worth. But you can see the control that the Mel affords in the early laning stage. Later on, Syndra technically does have more range with Scatter the Weak and getting a stun off there. But for now, Alves, really nice path after the top scuttle, forces flash out of Mollywops, and Vrang gets Alves out of dodge there. But here comes round 2.
For Mollywops. The stun drops on the counter strike. First blood going to Vrang.
Very nice repeat gank there. Didn't even get really a chance to talk about the fact that that could come through, as it came through almost immediately. Mollywops, bit of object permanence there, forgot Jungler might still be in the area. Maybe it was a really nice overstay from Alves. But nonetheless, good flash punish and the kill onto the Mel, which is exactly where you want it to be. Dragon is now spawned, but red side vision is really strong on that bot side. Raptors ward, Dragon ward, still that Tri-Brush ward that's about to wear off just there at the top. You can see So whether or not GSP want to go towards that Drake as Stupid Goober is just running down the mid lane, bot camps are up, so it would make sense to me to go clear the bot side and then with this prio go towards the dragon, but maybe they want to send it a bit too early and happy to just continue these strong lanes.
Definitely an option that is available to them, especially with Alves initially moving towards the top half of the map. GSP should have the move forward, but Materialize going to get stunned up, but good bubble drops onto Delhi. And speaking of this bot lane, there's definitely been one shining point for GSP. Bot lane so far has gone really well for them.
Well, here comes Stupid Goober rotating down the bot side, but his bot lane is both basing right now, so very awkward timer here. Terps just smacking him.
Yeah, there's a few moments there where it looked like it may have potentially been a little bit more than actually developed, but now the move is towards the mid lane from Stupid Goober. Not going to be able to threaten much onto Varang. And so with the recalls and the resets of the bot lane, the Drake is still up for grabs.
It's a really nice deep ward there from Aspect Legend on the top side. Walks in, is able to put a ward down in the brush a little bit lower near the blue buff. Stupid Goober collecting up the Scuttle Crab in the top side, so continuing out the farm. Dragon has been warded now by Hunters, so not as though GSP, can sneak it away. But that ward right there, spotting out a whole lot of information where Alves is and where he's pathing. But yeah, relatively slow game, which is not uncommon these days, especially in pro play. But even in these lower elos, it's becoming more and more common for teams to just want to farm it out, play it slow, not oversend it. And as I say that, some pings for an invader coming through from the Hunters.
Oh, yeah, they have a feeling they know where Goober's whereabouts are. Not going to push their luck any further, assuming that there could definitely be a collapse down from Molly Wops, but Alves kind of hanging around, maybe trying to find another gank onto Molly Wops. Obviously, without the flash would be a pretty decent target, but a little bit safe with the tower nearby.
Yeah, a lot of time waste there on the side of Alves, as he still has to go back to his Gromp and Wolves and continue the clear up. That'll be spotted by that ward that I mentioned earlier as well, and Stupid Goober has already cleared off his entire top side. Now it can path back down to the bot side or towards these grubs, whichever. Honestly, in my opinion, due to these lanes and how they're all kind of pushing for GSP, Stupid Goober gets the pick of the litter here. Jump in from Gala.
Going to get Delhi down to about 1/5 HP. A bunch of damage coming through. Got the reset on the rocket jump. The bubble not quite finding the target, but the flash away from Delhi will need to be used to keep himself alive alongside that barrier. So really aggressive from Glacial, and it pays off for him.
Very nice, but here's the grubs here. Start up for TMG, and should be able to get a nice little 3 there. I did disconnect through that entire fight, but I'm back now, so that was a bit scary.
Yeah, wow.
The fight started and then everything froze, but I'm back, so we're chilling. Someone's got to stop gnawing on my internet cables, please and thank you, whoever that is. But yeah, 3 grubs over to TMG. No extra kills on the board yet, so it remains quite a slow game. A trade of the objectives. Mountain Drake feels pretty good for just the laning, especially in these stally, stalemate out lanes that really only have a chance of breaking open via all-ins. Mountain Drake will really help GSP in those all-ins, just have a bit more extra stats to stat check the Hunters. But yeah, it's remained a slow game, where in these, I think that teams can really start to read where the map movements are in the game. There hasn't been a whole lot of just yet, which isn't unsurprising, although I would have liked maybe some swaps coming in here and there. But the only lane that's really suffering that hard is the mid lane, and if you're TMG, you're obviously happy with that. I will say, though, that Viego I've seen quite a few times recently, and every time I'm not super convinced by it, due to the fact that team fight's quite difficult. It's quite difficult to team fight on it. It's not really a setup at all. It's not really a team fight winning. It doesn't have a massive ult, but it will reset you into death. And I guess there are quite a few champions this game that do that, right? Jinx has resets, Tristana has a reset, Diego has a reset. So it's a very, like, whoever gets the first kill in these engagements will end up winning the fight, or at least on paper will end up winning the fight due to how strong they're going to get. I think that the Malphite, though, is a really big deal in this.
But the unstoppable force is going to be used immediately. Dominus pop by Aspect Legend just to heal back up a little bit, but Olves is arriving in the top lane. Aspect Legend not backing off just yet, does have access to the flash should he choose to use it. Flash forward from Olves. There's no reaction time for Aspect Legend with the stun on the counter strike. Another kill going the way of TMG Demon Hunters.
Yeah, felt quite telegraphed, but Aspect Legend not respecting the flash from Alves. Really nice trade from Mollywops here as Reflect one auto once again. But that's a really nice gank up to the top lane. And so far, Alves has really been
Rain going to flash forward at the... Okay, whoa, give action all over the map in the bottom lane. Galadrim going to be able to get the 2v2 kill with Ethereal Ice. But
how did this happen?
See how it goes down. It's a really good rocket jump to dodge out the chompers and find the angle onto Deli. And so now continuing on, Shy Bishan also going to be taken down quite low. So this bottom lane for Glacial Spectre really popping off so far. Stupid Goober also moving to the bottom lane. See if they can't also claim Shy Bishan, who has to retreat fully under their tier 2 tower. That'll be quite a few plates to GSP.
Well, good trade there from Mollywops. There's a bit of that extra first strike gold. A little plate going over to Vrang as here comes Stupid Goober, but Vrang will be able to path over to Alves, and it should be fine here as they clear out this ward. Stupid Goober's still in the area, but looks like might just be going for a little bit of farm. It's just staring at each other over the wall.
Yeah, and with the use of the sweepers, will find out Stupid Goober unaware of that trinket being used to know his location. That's the third kill for TMG Demon Hunters.
Deli took another really bad trade in the bot side as well. So this bot lane is bleeding away for Gala. Very dangerous AD carry to have a gold lead on. However, TMG doing a really good job just in general of keeping this lead as Gala goes in.
Forward, Galadrim trying to get down another 2v2 kill on Deli. Super Mega Death Rocket does not do damage from that up close, and it's another kill for the Tristana. Shy Bishan also very low. Probably would have gone down if Galadrim had any sort of mana to rocket and jump in again.
Yeah, again, it's still the mid jungle, and I mean top's pretty even, so it is fine, but mid and jungle that are doing all the work for TMG right now. Their bot lane is really suffering. They need to weather the storm out for the next, honestly, 10 or so minutes while this Tristana is kind of just jumping on you every wave that she feels like it's appropriate. But yeah, Galadrim doing a really good job of pressing the advantage so far. Dragon stacking needs to be the objective here for GSP as there's no lane tops of just yet. 50 seconds on this next Drake would give them second Drake.
Oh, Unstoppable Force drops down onto Aspect Legend, who will immediately pop the Dominus once again to be able to get the health back. So not quite enough burst available for Terps to finish off the Crocodile. And they'll just kind of go back looking at each other again.
Yeah, a bit of a nothing top lane matchup this is, at least until Black Cleaver comes online for Aspect. Then I assume that on side lane this is going to be quite a winning lane. I'm not sure if he's going at first, although I would have really liked to see it first.
Unless it's getting a little bit dangerous up there. Oh, but before
dangerous down in the bot lane though.
A tidal wave drop by Ethereal Ice, try to keep himself alive or herself alive. There's just not really anywhere for her to go. Teammates too far away. Right as the next Drake spawns. So that'll be the stopping of the Dragon stacking to the side of Glacial Spectre.
Yeah, Ethereal Ice unfortunately caught down there. Didn't quite get to see the walk in, but looked like TMG had some great positions around her. Unfortunately, takes a fall. That's the second Drake over to TMG now, so one apiece. And it's Cloud Drake this game, which is a very, very strong soul. Renekton, one of the strongest Cloud Soul users in the entire game. Rel's pretty good at it too. Jax is great at using it. Malphite's okay, but got some really strong Cloud Soul users in the game. I personally think it's like one of the strongest, if not the strongest, if you know how to use it well and you've got the right team for it. But either way, regardless of some of the early kills that have gone through onto Vrang, it's still a very even game in terms of gold. Right. There's only 2 kills difference. There's only 300 gold.
Sun will find its way down onto Terps. Flash is available, but no unstoppable force. Won't need to use either. Just kind of walks away from that one and is fine. Does actually have to flash. I must have misheard the sound cue. My mistake there, but all of us has arrived now. Trying to find a potential counter gate. Super Mega Death Rocket. Not going to find anybody and just going to back away from each other. But all the while in the bot lane, that'll be first tower going to GSP.
Yeah, Super Mega Death Rocket just comes past for a quick vacation look and check what was going on in the top lane, but I was flash out from
Whoa,
Molly.
what?
That executes?
That was
my God.
When you, I mean,
my God.
I guess
I was for sure that I wasn't going to kill.
Yeah, that was like half HP from Mollywops. That is an insane amount of damage on the Mel with the Golden Eclipse. That just doesn't feel right. That just feels wrong.
No, that's disgusting. Imagine being like Galadrim right there and looking at what happened to your mid laner going, that's going to be me soon, but Al's in the top lane.
What happened to Mollywops? Aspect Legend does have access to Flash. There is definitely a lot of follow-up available to TMG Demon Hunters, just holding onto it for a little bit longer.
You have Flash!
Recognize that he's dead. Will opt not to Flash. I could only assume they thought he was dead anyway in the top lane.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate, but TMG kind of running away with this so far. Hold on.
Straight to the mid lane. Galadrim deleted by Delhi. Now Ethereal Ice taken very low as a valiant attempt to try to claim Vrang would have been a very big shutdown onto the Tristana, but just won't be able to find the target that they were looking for.
Yeah, it's all falling apart for GSP right now. The gank up in top was really good, and I was expecting to transition into a Herald, but macro doesn't matter when your mid laner just gets solo killed from half HP. Super
Delhi, though, the Heartbreaker drops. Stupid Goober get the first kill on Delhi, switching over to the Jinx. A few auto attacks more, switches back with the Heartbreaker, but not quite close enough to be able to claim Olves.
Despite this massive kill advantage, the gold is still relatively even, which is wild to think about because of how much damage Vrang just did. Could we check the gold, actually? I would assume it's all on Vrang. I think that most of this gold is... Yeah, it's all on this mid lane right now. There's actually a 1k gold for Galadrim in the bot lane, but the rest of it's pretty even. Jax has 1k, but... Big, nearly, what is it? Nearly 1,500, 1,200 gold lead here for Vrang.
Quick maths. It's like 1,200.
It's actually more than I thought. I didn't expect top lane to be as gapped as well. I guess that Galadrim is really pulling back what would like be a, what would feel like a much worse gold lead. If this 80 carry wasn't also the same gold ahead as Vrang was, then it would feel a lot worse. But it's right now kind of... everyone on TMG versus Galadrim, and I mean, who wins that? I'll have to find out. I think that it's possible for the Tristana to win, but up against, a Malphite, up against the Jax and the range from this Mel, it's really tough because, the stats that you get from getting excited on Jinx don't eclipse the gold lead that Galadrim has, but will even that up quite significantly. Eventually, that won't matter as much. Dragon in 40 seconds. So it's still one apiece. I think that if you're GSP, it's a good idea here to give this Drake. Really doesn't mean a whole lot. Try to get a bit more gold onto your Tristana. If you had IE at this point, I think that it's fine to go for this Dragon contest. But because you don't, and you're missing CS as well in the mid lane, and look at this setup here from TMG. No vision here for GSP. There's a death brush just waiting for you. Might be a bait here.
Delhi, the bait won't matter. Delhi's killed immediately, and the rocket drove away from Galadrim. Keeps himself alive without taking any sort of damage. As you mentioned, right before this Cloud Drake spawns, will be numbers advantage to GSP, but it doesn't look like TMG Demon Hunters wants to give it up just yet. All the while, Rift Herald spawn in the mid lane to be able to potentially find an answer, but it does look like GSP will opt to make the trade tower for Drake. Actually, this might be a second one. Second charge drop. This mid lane tier 2 is getting quite low. The tidal wave finds its way onto 3. The Scab of the Week finds its way onto 2. Galadrim relatively untouched, gets the first kill, gets the shutdown onto Vrang. Importantly, that's 900 gold. And now TMG Demon Hunters have to retreat. Mollywop's getting the second kill onto Shy Bishan. That's the moment that GSP have been looking for. And importantly, 900 more gold to Galadrim. Terps could be in trouble as well. Stun drops on him from the Renekton. He's very tanky, but there's no one else left alive on TMG Demon Hunters to really help him out. Luckily, has been very tanky, but we hit that 20-minute mark. Oh my goodness, that might also be the Otacon.
A lot has happened, so let's take a quick recap as maybe we'll have to wait. There's a TP in here from Terps. They won't be able to get this Otacon, but might be able to chase.
Deli is the target now. You don't really want to see the Jinx going forward, but the Unstoppable Force finds its way onto multiple targets, but there's just not really any sort of follow-up. Goober's killed immediately. By the time Vrang arrives, he's already dead. Galadrim very low, not quite dead just yet, but the Golden Eclipse gets the Tristan, and now the snare finds its way, dropped onto Aspect Legend, but Vrang a little bit too far forward, has to flash away from Mollywops, and Shy Bishan arrives just to drop a stun to get his Mel out of there.
Well, it started slow, but it has not maintained this slow pace. So I'm going to recap everything we just saw. So in mid lane, TMG set up a really nice bait around Deli, fishing themselves out in the mid lane. But unfortunately, don't calculate the damage from Galadrim well enough. And Galadrim just solo kills Deli before the bait is able to come through. Then TMG say, okay, we'll give this Drake and trade it for some mid towers. So GSP get the second Drake, while TMG herald down the mid lane. They do get 2 towers, but it takes too long, and GSP are able to rotate back up, get a massive shutdown onto Galadrim, continue the chase off. They get some more kills. Then they feel, okay, we're in a good position. Let's do Otacon now. They walk up, start Otacon, finish Otacon. Otacon and the Dragon over to GSP for 2 towers so far. But then TP's out of Terps and Vrang come through and trade back even more kills for a scrappy end to that fight. I'm not even sure who is favored in that. I mean, Galadrim gets the best end of it with a nearly 1k shutdown. You can see the damage from this. So much damage coming out of this Tristana right now. Yeah, I was talking about before the Dragon needing to finish Infinity Edge. Now the Infinity Edge is finished, has the last Whisper in hand too, which is, I think, 1100 gold. Stupid Goober will be found in the jungle, but some members rotating from GSP should dissuade Terps here. There's nothing on the map really to fight for outside of this scuttle, so I hope that neither of these teams oversend it for a massive chase, but Mollywops
in a ton of trouble. The Counter-Strike ends, but there's just nowhere to go. Don't think it'll matter. Vrang gets that kill, although it's very close to a turn in the bottom lane. Almost from Mollywops, but just not quite enough damage there.
It's really maintaining this story of Vrang kind of the massive Fed member and Galadrim, the massive Fed member on the other side. And how can each team play around their Fed member? Obviously, the KDA looks a bit better for Vrang. Jump over the wall.
When you use the Unstoppable Force to escape, but all the while it's a trade for the mid and bot lane tier 1s for each other respectively. Of course, right as I say that, the move is towards the top side. So it'd be 2 tier 1s for GSP.
And somehow, after all this, TMG is still in the gold lead by 100 gold. That's all that's in it. This will obviously be quite a lot more with the 3 grubs that they got at the beginning of the game. So that gold will balloon to a little under 1,000 gold. But realistically, as the gold lead is so close, it's going to mostly come down to these team fights. You can see the gold differences here between mid and bot. Basically the same on either end. You've got a big gold lead as well for Alves is around about where the number on the top of the screen is being shown. But yeah, it's around Vrang on this Mel. It's around Galadrim on this Tristana. And these resets for the fights. Who's going to get a reset first? Because yes, Jax has a gold lead over Viego, but if Stupid Goober can get a reset, you know, get access to ult again, healing, get the extra kit, and a reset on the ult, could eclipse, you know, how that gold lead feels. Jax doesn't really need a whole ton of gold. Typically, you can see him with 1 or 2 items only, so not super necessary. Both teams fighting over control of the river. There's flash in.
Forward. The response from Mollywops is in time. Had their finger on that key to be able to get away as quickly as possible. Galadrim getting a little bit dangerously far forward. As you mentioned, our eyes have to be on Galadrim. They have to be on Vrang as well. Drake has started up by TMG Demon Hunters. They do have positioning on this objective. Can they find a way? And Galadrim is the target. It is deleted, immediately caught by Vrang, and there goes any sort of damage that GSP have. The backline, Aspect Legend does get the way onto Vrang. Now Stupid Goober getting the resets. I may have stand corrected. The crash down finds its way onto Ultimate. Deli gets the reset. Stupid Goober still alive. Gets the stun onto Deli, flashing away. Does he get the ADC?
God.
No, he does not. It was very nearly a pop-off moment for Stupid Goober, but instead it is a triple kill for Deli in a 3-for-4 trade, going the way of TMG Demon Hunters. That's exactly what Deli would have wanted to get right back into this one on the Jinx.
And at the end of all this, it's 2 Drakes apiece. Barely, 2k gold, a little bit less, but that fight starts off with Galadrim walking in, face tanking the root from Vrang and instantly dying before anything else happens. And they still nearly win the fight off the back of it. I can imagine how that fight would have gone if Galadrim hadn't been one-shot at the beginning of the fight. But yeah, it feels very awkward from TMG, a little all over the place. Seems like the coordination wasn't quite there, hitting onto the right targets. The ult from Malphite was kind of useless at the back, didn't really combo with anything. Shy Bishan as well, didn't really get a whole lot done in that fight. But Deli with the resets, up against Stupid Goober with the resets. It was a very close back and forth fight, but TMG take it just with a little bit of life hanging on there. Baron has spawned, but after that, I think these teams both need just a couple of deep breaths before they go again. That was very close. If you got Ace there, the game's basically over. If you got Baron, but both teams fighting contesting a little bit of vision here. Happy to go back to some slow normalcy. 3 items completed for, pardon me, for Galadrim. Working on that third for Mollywops, and the same could be said for Vrang and Deli. These are big item spikes, the Runins, looks like Leandries there for Vrang, which is a bit of a late Leandries. Went Horizon focus in the second slot there. But Vision being fought over and won now by TMG. Could look to start up, but I think that starting up the Baron could be very costly.
Yeah, it's definitely a very contested objective, one that can do a solid amount of damage, but I do think that TMG Demon Hunters have a solid amount of objective damage should they try to start it up. Obviously not doing that just yet. Do have the positioning, do have a bunch of vision denied, and that's going to be a stun onto 2. Unstoppable Force as well, layering perfectly. Vrang gets the first 2 kills, and now Mollywops is the target of Deli, who's gotten excited, and that's going to be 3 going the way of TMG Demon Hunters. It's a very good pick, very good use of vision denial from the Demon Hunters to ensure that they claim this fight and the Baron.
That's how TMG's fight should look when everything is played correctly together. Alves goes in, finds a nice stun, a little bit of damage, and then Terps and Shy Bishan land in with their ults. Vrang and Deli from the actually, you know what, I'm not going to make an NFL quote because I don't know NFL. We don't play that sport in Australia. From the back court line, I'll make it a basketball joke, from all the way full court shot from Vrang, and the damage is just unanswered from GSP. As the problem with this comp right now, and this was kind of my problem with going something like a Nami, is that you've got no vision contest. You've got no face check. All you're relying on is Stupid Goober going in invisible, which is not hard to catch out when it's very obvious, right? He wants to contest vision. We're going to wait for him to walk in here, and as he gets close, we can see him. Or these blue orbs that, like, they were out. There was no vision left at the time. I think Mollywops might have had theirs available, but even then, you know, one vision orb, it's cleared out. Then what? You have to walk in, and eventually, exactly what we saw happens. It's Baron on 5. Dragon is 45 seconds away, which will be sole point for either team. As TMG walk in, start to clear out the vision again. Really nice chunk from Mollywops. TP in from Aspect Legend, and Galadrim is busy clearing out the mid wave here, but this is an important Drake for both teams.
Galadrim is a little bit isolated from the rest of the team. Will have to take the long way around. Does eventually arrive Obviously, you have the Drake spawning in the next 10 seconds, but there's a lot of pressure in the mid lane from TMG Demon Hunters to be able to get the push, to be able to force a response from GSP to try to save their base as they retreat. And now Aspect Legend and Super Goober potentially on the flank, trying to find a stray target like Deli or Vrang, but those options won't be available to them just yet. They should probably have been spotted out by TMG Demon Hunters, so they should have knowledge of where Super Goober and Aspect Legend are. They will do now with that ward drop. There's no possible way for TMG Demon Hunters to contest. And now they're hunting themselves for a few strangling targets. Aspect Legend seems to be what they found. Crocodile season isn't quite here just yet. As we back away, it will be sole point to TMG Demon Hunters.
This is actually not that bad for GSP. Okay, they give over Soul Point, which does feel quite bad, but due to the way that GSP kind of ran Hunters around the map with vision and chasing them around and ending up not getting any kills, the Baron is nearly off. So this is quite a useless Baron in all, relation, like relative to how Barons could look, especially with the Jinx, right? Getting excited off of tower kills, getting excited off of the dragon kill. It didn't really end up meaning anything. Alves gets chunked out really low, around about 1,000 HP there left. But yeah, GSP have done pretty well to continue the farm up on the top side. You can see the Baron, like I said before, nearly off. And all that you've lost there is Soul Point. There's the Baron off right now.
Yeah, there's at the very least, it was useful to get that push in the mid lane, which did secure the Soul Point for TMG Demon Hunters. So it wasn't a completely worthless Baron, but definitely not the most exciting one we've ever seen. As we take a step back, and we'll have a few moments to kind of sit around and wait. At this point in time, TMG Demon Hunters, for the first time, have a meaningful gold lead, sitting about 3k up over Glacial Spectre. But still Galadrim, all eyes will be on this Tristana in these coming fights.
Well, I've got a second. I'm going to derail the cast. What do you think about like a Halloween map? I know the league doesn't really change their maps a whole lot. We're getting a winter one, but I reckon a Halloween theme map would be kind of dope. We've got one. We've got a server theme for Titan, so why not? Come on, Riot.
I might be misremembering. I feel like way back in my day, before we had these changing maps, I'm pretty sure we got at least a few Halloween maps.
Well, I didn't know you were on right there.
Aspect of Legend, the target, will use all his dashes to get away, as well as a flash, but it's followed by the unstoppable force. But he's so tanky, so pseudo-tanky with the healing, and now the response, Terps goes low, goes down, shut down for Aspect Legend. Here comes the rest of GSP. Their health bars are so low. Stupid Goober using the Heartbreaker to get the first kill. Galadrim finds Deli, and there's no one left alive on TMG Demon Hunters. It's an ace for GSP in a very surprising turn of events. Luckily, though, for TMG Demon Hunters, there's really not much on the map and really only the mid lane available to GSP.
I'm going to be a little bit harsh here because what just happened quite annoyed me. The reason that I kind of derailed there was because I was expecting nothing to happen until minimum Baron. So that gave us another 2 minutes. But instead, TMG decided to lose their gold lead completely over air. Actually air. They've got Soul in like 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes whenever they took the fight. You've got Jinx, who is one of the best 6-slotted item AD carries in the game, with great opportunity to get resets with a frontline built around her. You've got Mel with great range, who still needs another item. Jax and Malphite getting, and instead everyone gets anxiety, I guess, and we're really worried about losing the game, and I understand that. I understand being worried and anxious about losing a game if you feel like you're getting outscaled, but you shouldn't be. There is no reason to send the game there. Sorry, to send the fight there. Just control the vision. Don't take a fight, because it wasn't even like we looking for a small fight, pull a flash off. We sent it under tower with Malphite ult, and all died. Baron's now spawned, and TMG have the stronger position. Stupid Goober forgot the objective was spawning and was actually in the bot side of the map for some reason. So this Baron is just most likely going to go over to TMG. I guess. It was all part of the plan the whole time.
It's down to 3k. We won't have vision on it. Oh my goodness! Oh my what? What do you? This
GSP!
What is going on?
Genius! So what we're going to do is send our jungler down to the bot side so that they take Baron and get a false sense of security, and then Mollywops comes in and slam dunk steals it. Genius play here from GSP. Beautiful.
Oh my goodness, and that's with Drake spotting. That's the sole point, Drake. It would have been so huge for TMG to be able to pick up the Baron and do kind of similarly what they did to last time, just push in these waves and make sure that GSP can't respond at all to the soul. But now, after that fight with Baron available to every member of GSP, you have to feel that we're more than likely going to see a three Drake apiece soul point.
Yep, very likely. This game is very close right now. Still, despite, the 4K gold lead, that obviously does matter, but it won't matter for a whole lot longer. Jinx nearly finished her 4th item. This Drake very easily going over to GSP. I will say that for the next 5 minutes, don't do anything, TMG. GSP want to end the game here on this Baron. If you give them an angle to end the game, obviously they're going to take it. Tristana does a ton of damage, has GA available. Yeah. We still need 2 more items on Jinx. We still need 1 more item on Mel. Clear the wave. Don't get killed. Just clear the wave as best as you can. We'll have to see here as Owls might get a little excited.
More the Jinx thing to do. Alves said on the flank, trying to find a potential angle. Instead, wait for the recall of Vrang, who was taken down to half HP, so we kind of sit around and wait a little longer for what feels like this tier 2 bot lane tower to inevitably get taken down, and this push to continue for GSPs. You mentioned Guardian Angels for Glacial, but also for Stupid Goober. There's basically 1.5 health bars on 2 members of GSP that they'll have to burn through should a fight break out. But no one's really trying to push their advantage to find a game-changing, game-ending sort of play. So we'll sit back and wait once again for these waves to continue to push in.
Yeah, honestly, after what's happened this game, I think that both teams are just kind of a bit traumatized, and they're saying, okay, maybe we shouldn't do anything. Maybe we should just wait. But Glacial poked out a little bit. The waves will push him, but there's only 15 seconds left of Baron. Al's pathing up towards Aspect Legend, who doesn't have flash.
Unstoppable Force used. Aspect Legend going to slice and dice away. And so without flash now, will probably eventually go down. But what does that mean for the bottom lane of TMG? Demon Hunters. Actually, whoa! Hold on! Ethereal Ice deleted immediately by Vrang. So it turns out the numbers advantage not really going the way of GSP. They will be able to utilize that at the very least to be able to take the spot lane tier 3, but not much else. Oh wait, Super Goober flashing
one
forward. What? Deli very low, claimed by Glacial. Now bring the target double kill for the Tristana. Doesn't matter that the support was taken down in the 3v4. This Tristana and this Viego are so big, but they may have overstayed their welcome. Terps is back up, and they do have the home guard movement speed buffed. Alves now going to pop the counter strike to not take any damage from Glacial, but Glacial positioning very aggressively on the Tristana. Has maximum rage, was slowed by the cheese. Will have to pop the buster shot to get Terps away and find a way out.
That's a very scrappy end to this game still. GSP get a little bit impatient, send it very aggressively. Aspect did fall in the top lane. I think there might have been a spectator bug, because I'm pretty sure I saw no flash, but he did a flash. Doesn't matter. He used it this time and still falls down. But man, oh man, Galadrim does a ton of damage with that explosive charge. I'm pretty sure Vrang got over half hit from the AoE off of the tower.
Off the tower,
like the bomb exploding off of the tower. That was disgusting. But I think that, honestly, that was a great time for Shy Bishan to send it in. There was one time where he faked Q to maybe get the flash away from Glacial, and if he had flashed with the Q flash instead of faking it and caught Glacial, maybe that was an opportunity to get a kill. But Terps looking a bit worried here. Just flies away.
Just going to use the unstoppable force to back out. And so now we're at a place where we were just 5 minutes ago or so, with the next objective spawning in a minute. Terps having to flash away from the rocket jump of Glacial, but GSP not going to push their luck any further, but importantly, no flash on the Malphite.
And no ult as well for the next bit. Probably will be up for the Dragon, however, as that's ticking up quite quickly. As chunked out, but we'll be able to jump away from Glacial. This game is still relatively close. Like I was saying before, the gold lead is becoming less and less relevant. Obviously, you'd prefer to have that GA completed on Delhi as it is on Galadriel. But, I mean, if Sol is taken, if a fight goes either way with these resets, like we've been talking about all game, and Baron and Sol go to your side with the respawn time, as the game will just end there. Aspect may be caught.
Yeah, slowed up. The blast cone won't get all of his way. This Renekton going to have to slice and dice over the wall, get away. But we've seen before, it's very difficult for GSP to be able to walk in without vision.
Keep your eye on the wave in the bot.
Yeah. But the Drake's burned down very fast. The take is very quick from Team G Demon Hunters. Once again, no sort of answer from GSP.
Here it comes.
From Aspect Legend comes back, trying to find a flank in for the rest of the team. Instead, just going to dice away. And going to give the Cloud Soul over to the side of Team G Demon Hunters. So a very good heist from the Demon Hunters, but all the while, the minions will take one Nexus Tower. And with that response to the bot lane, it's moving on to the Baron for GSP.
It is indeed. I was almost expecting a TP into the base there, but we've got a Baron fight. Terps walking in.
Oh, that's going to be a snare down onto Shy Vision, but it's a little bit slow from GSP. And so now that gives time for the Demon Hunters to arrive in the river. And GSP move away. They stop this Baron take. They do have the advantage of that inhibitor in the bot lane. Constantly pushing in that bot lane wave, and hold on. Terps opts to go in, finds Stupid Goober, but not much else. To rebuttal of the tidal wave at max range. Doesn't quite find anyone. Terps now just walking straight forward. Aspect Legend is potentially caught, taken down to about 2/3 HP, but now Alves going to be focused by Glacial, who does so much damage. Ethereal Ice killed by Alves, but it gets the Guardian Angel out of Stupid Goober, my mistake. And so actually that's quite a bit of damage from Molly Wops, or from Rang, and now the turn is on Stupid Goober, who doesn't have the Guardian Angel anymore. Shutdown going the way of Rang, who's deleted by Molly Wops on the Scatter of the Week, and now Shy Vision has to get away, but the crash down will slow him up a little bit more. Only Deli and Shy Vision are left alive. The target is no longer the Baron, but with the pushing waves, it's going to be GSP looking for the Nexus, but can Deli and Shy Vision hold off the 4 members of GSP, who have just over half health? They will be able to get their HP returned. Now one final stand for TMG Demon Hunters, but the stun on the Scat of the Week finds its way onto Delhi, and that will certainly be game 1 going the way of GSP in what is almost certainly a must-win situation. It's only game 1, but that is a really huge upset for Glacial Spectre.
Yeah, massive. This is, I mean, like I said in the draft, this is first for 7th, if I'm not incorrect. But honestly, this is one of those situations where you watch on a broadcast, and like if we were giving MVP and everyone was voting, you give it to Molly Wops, and it's a bit of a joke because it's like, okay, yeah, he did do a lot of damage, but like you just give him MVP because he stole Baron, put you in an amazing position. Yeah, that was it was just a bad throw. Like, you can't let that happen. There was a bit of an overchase in the top lane as well, but I will say the mid lane seems very contentious between who's doing more damage. Vrang in the early stages of the game did so much on the Mel, and then it kind of felt like there wasn't really a whole lot to do, and Syndra really took over. Mollywop had an amazing performance, just one-shotting everybody. I think that matchup in the mid lane for this next game is going to be really important, and I think that both teams should identify that, like, wow, both our mid laners are really good. We should try to play around them.
Yeah, I mean, Mollywops especially came alive, especially in the later half of that game. But I mean, that's not to write off Galadrim, who really kept Glacial Spectre in that game for a large portion of it. And I mean, what a way to get your first win of the season against the top team, against who Prophet of Tears, who ranked as their first in our power rankings in the league. I'm just stunned by how that first game went. Just completely lost for words.
Well, I think that both of these teams are going to be a little bit lost for words too, because you've got a great position on both teams at multiple times or multiple throws. I think that after that, I mean, obviously you're excited for the win if you're GSP, you're disappointed for the loss if you're TMG. But both teams should be thinking, man, that wasn't clean. We really need to tighten up X area, depending on which team you're talking about, right? Obviously, the Baron wasn't great. Some of the over chasing in the top lane wasn't great. And for GSP, you were put in that position, right? Team started Baron. Your jungler was on the bot side. So, yeah, I think that there's just things to look at here. I'm trying to, not be too overcritical, because there were a lot of mistakes in that game that weren't necessarily like, oh, one player and mechanical players. I don't like to talk about that, but like, you can't have your jungler on the bot side of the map while enemy team is starting Baron and luckily steal it over the wall with your mid laner and win the game, because that's not happening every game.
And we'll have to see how these two teams react, if they can clean things up a little bit for game 2, but it's still, regardless, in my opinion, a very impressive win for Glacial Spectre considering their opposition. So I have to wait and see how that changes for game 2. Don't go anywhere. If it's anything like this one, we're in for a ride.
like do 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 do, like do 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 crazy, oh 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 crazy, oh 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 crazy crazy, oh oh crazy, oh 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 crazy, do 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 crazy, do 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 crazy, do 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 crazy, do 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 crazy crazy, do do like do 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 do, like do 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 crazy, oh do do like do 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 do, like do 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 crazy, oh.
And after a topsy-turvy roller coaster of a game one here between TMG Demon Hunters and Glacial Spectre, we are back for what we hope to be just as an exciting game two. And I mean, just walk us through what happened, Geppetto, because that was... my goodness.
Well, it was very close the entire game. You know, we're at 2 dragons apiece, then 3 dragons apiece, and then towards the end of the game, there was an all-in on the top side from TMG where they dove a tier 2. Lots of them died. Obviously, you mentioned that after the play, there wasn't an objective up at the time, but they gave over some gold. Then TMG rock up to the Baron. It gets stolen away by Mollywops, and it just kind of all fell apart. I think that the mid matchup is very important, like I mentioned before the break. So see what these teams try to draft. I think that Orianna, one of the strongest, if not the strongest mid laners in the game right now. And if they can play Syndra and Mel, Orianna is not very different from that. So I expect an Orianna. I would expect an Orianna, maybe a Jarvan paired with it or against it. Something that's quite prioritized in Pro. Although Jarvan has like a 0% win rate or something like that, 1 in 9 or whatever it is.
I think he ended up getting a win recently.
Nice,
so I think
good
it's
for
1
him.
in 9. So a whopping 10% win rate so far. But
crazy.
Anyway, moving on. I do also think in terms of like these players specifically, one that might potentially be on the cards for the mid lane is the Malzahar. Both Vrang and Mollywops have played Malzahar twice so far. This split also a bit similar in terms of those long range mages. One that we might potentially see coming through. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see. If we're talking about junglers that are popular,
Okay.
Wukong. Okay, well that's not Wukong. That's a completely different jungler. Nocturne going to be the first pick for TMG Demon Hunters.
Does pair really well with an Orianna if that's something you want to go towards, but
Okay,
the
I mean,
classic
wow.
answer. Right.
Okay.
So, in this matchup, every time you pick a Kha'Zix, the idea is this like you're trying to find the enemy jungler in the jungle and fight them isolated 1v1. But I'm just not a huge fan of the carry junglers. I think that you have to be really good on them these days because of just the way the game is. You kind of get swamped by the mid laners. You don't do great into tanks. Mordekaiser against the Ornn. Yeah, sure. I really think Orianna is good here, or something that can take. Guys, enemy team has Ornn. You have to be able to kill the Ornn, please.
Yeah, they're not
Look,
a lot of.
There's not a whole lot of damage for TMG right now. They've got a Nocturne, which is a ton of setup and engage. Whoa! What is happening for GSP here? Is that Mbessa mid? Is this some tech? I feel like you just get slammed by Annie all game, but I guess it's safe from ganks. Could be on in a side, like in a support role. I don't know. We'll talk about the comps when they finish and where it's going, but GSP, they're cooking. TMG are cooking just as much.
Yeah, that's like literally all I can add to the draft so far. Because I mean, especially the best like thinking.
I think you need damage from these teams. Like, regardless of where these things are going, you need some damage, right? Annie's not going to provide a whole lot. Mordekaiser is, but in a 1v1, that's a lot of damage. But it's also like, why is Vayne the selection here? I'm willing to be convinced because I think that Vayne can destroy, but I would expect Vayne on the other side, on that side, right?
Yeah, especially into
because
the
it's
Ornn.
against. Yeah, exactly. So Caitlyn's going to be matched into the Vayne, which will lose a 1v1 if they're like close range, but the lane is really tough for Vayne because of the range advantage. You could go, okay, Poppy. So, all right, hold on. Let's just let the draft finish up, and then I guess we can have a conversation around like, I get it, Poppy into Vayne, maybe she can't tumble, sure, Nico. All right. So GSP's comp has a lot of setup, regardless of where they go. In a team fight setting, you've got Ornn ult and Bessa ult in front line. You've got Nico ulting, and the damage is mostly the Vayne and Kha'Zix on the side, fighting an isolated target, looking for a 1v1 early. You've got quite a lot of frontline to roam around with the Kha'Zix, so I can see that. On the other side, though, there's not really a whole lot of damage. You've got great setup. You've got great play on the map. Keeper's Verdict is a really impactful ult and can really disrupt what GSP can do. If the frontline sent away, Vayne is now a lot more vulnerable. If Vayne is sent away after, let's say Q goes on cooldown or gets grounded by Puppey, right? And maybe Condemn is not up. It's very conditional, but you could get rid of the Vayne. Caitlyn is great at setting up around the map with the trap lines, Nocturne, and Annie. Really good early skirmishes, so have to watch out in the mid lane for that, which will actually be the Ornn for some reason. And Mordekaiser can look to, at least put Vayne in the Death Realm and probably lose that, but at least get it out of the fight. Do the same to Kha'Zix and maybe even win that matchup, but these comps are really all over the place, Isaac.
Yeah, mid lane Ornn, I don't think I've ever seen that before. Ever. Yeah. If I'm being completely honest, it's I mean, maybe if you get tanky enough into the Annie, you get enough magic resist, you could just laugh off everything, and then mage assassin tank, whatever that whole entire combination of words was, and then maybe. But I mean, we'll see. Coming into game 2, we've loaded odds of the race between GSP and TMG Demon Hunters. There's our matchup, and I mean, I don't even.
I like how.
I don't even know.
What is happening? Why does my Annie have Ghost? That has to have been a mistake. The classic Ghost Annie.
Vrang didn't have Ghost last game, so it can't even. No, he has a teleport.
No. He's opted into it, I guess. But yeah, I like how I was talking about the fact that I think that all of these players are going to be, playing around mid, and mid's the highlight of the game, and then we pick Annie on trade in mid. And it also kind of reminds me of.
What do you mean you don't want to play around the Ornn?
It's actually full AP Ornn, watch. But also, Ornn has Grasp, like you're ever proccing that against an Annie. I'm like, anyway, -1. This is off to a really good start. I'm fully locked in for this game. Trust me. I'm ready.
Oh, wait. Whoa.
What is happening?
What is going on? The Ignite isn't enough. It is.
He's dead. Oh, my God.
First split to Shy Bishan. Every single summoner spell blown, barring the flashes of Ethereal Ice and Dele. What is this game?
Dude, I'm so locked out. I'm so...
What is this game? What do you even...
I'm so unlocked.
Oh,
we've got Ghost Annie versus Grasp Ornn in the mid lane, and then we pan down bot and Poppy solo killing... No, the 2v2 killing Vayne at level 1. Anyway, fully expected this to happen. First blood over to TMG. Like you mentioned, almost all the summoner spells except for a flash apiece used in the bot lane. But I guess we're going to go back to some normalcy as Deli will take a base. Nice skin. Not the deft one. Very nice Caitlyn skin.
Yeah, I mean, you say normalcy, but I mean, as close to it as possible is probably...
For this series.
for this, yeah, I guess the series as a whole, because game 1 was absolutely wild as well, so, I mean... But I think... Now, hear me out. With the Ghost Annie. Wait, hold on.
Oh, with you?
Okay,
yep.
Okay. Because it's into an Ornn who can't really do anything. You pop the Ghost once you, if you have a gank or something, you just run down Mollywops, and what is he going to do? Is the only potential the only potential reasoning I could think of is Vrang misses the minion. Is the only potential reasoning that I can think of why Vrang has gone for this.
Well, Alves is spotted on a ward, pathing down to the bot lane, pinged out, and Stupid Goober up in the top lane, so looks like it's just going to be a scuttle trade.
Yeah, both junglers pathing to opposite sides of the map, so we actually get a few moments to, I guess,
talk about this Halloween map again.
Yeah, that's right, the Halloween map. But what if we gave all the jungle? Oh wait, before we get to that, Condemn comes out on Shy Vision. Alves actually ganking from behind. The fear drops onto Shy Vision, making sure that Shy Vision does stay alive. My mistake, Galadrim is actually the ADC of GSP. Wrong names. But yeah, second kill going the way of TMG Demon Hunters.
I'm really shocked that, because GSP knew that Nocturne was bot side because they saw him on 2 separate wards. They all like, the first one that just expired, and then they put down that one in the middle brush to prepare for the gank. And then Alves did Scuttle and was like, what if I just run the whole way around? And GSP were like, yeah, that'll work. So it did. Another kill over to TMG. This time it's on to Caitlyn. Deli, happy to get that. But yeah, really, I'm still not convinced by this Vayne pickup. And maybe it's a comfort pick, I'm not sure. But even if it is, I feel like, here's the thing about like people who say, oh, it's a comfort pick, I'm really good at the champion. If that's true, you should know when to pick it. And this is not a when to pick Vayne, in my opinion. It doesn't matter if you're mechanically really comfortable on it. You should know when it's a great Vayne game. And against Caitlyn, it's not a great Vayne game. Blind picking Vayne is not strong because, you know, enemy team is just going to pick range. Ashe was banned, so that's a good Vayne counter. I guess maybe that was the idea. But also, you're not getting a ton of value from the W passive, right? You're not fighting against multiple tanks. I think that it's really difficult to play it against something like a Nocturne who can get onto you. You can spell shield your Condemn, or spell shield the Root out from Ethereal Eyes as she tries to peel you. There's not a whole lot of peel for the Vayne. There's no Enchanter. And I don't want to dog on a pick that because, you know, it could cast a curse it really badly and it ends up being 10-2 and smurfs the entire game. But yeah, I'm just not convinced by Vayne in general in this current meta, as Alves paths down to the bot lane, and will be unspotted as he walks in and checks this Drake. Maybe trying to start it up as Stupid Goober was in the top lane, and will take a base, so this Drake should be pretty free.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to suspect Annie into the Ornn will almost have perma priority. Same thing with the Caitlyn into Vayne. Feel pretty alright. So overall, this early game going the way of TMG Demon Hunters, and I mean, alright, solo kill for Terps in the top lane. We completely
the level
missed.
6 timer.
Yeah.
Some Fundamentus.
Yeah, that's just the passive proc from Terps. And, I mean, 2 Qs in a row. Wow. Obliterates, landing isolated onto Aspect Legend. That's a ton of damage that it's not unavoidable, but if you don't avoid it, does a ton of damage.
Whoa.
The air falls its way onto 2, but a good dash forward from the Poppy does find the stun, but Stupid Goober gets the first kill, and 2 get returned the way of GSP. Galadrim having to burn the flash and the berry to stay alive, but does get a kill in return. The charge forward from Ornn, not quite find the knock-up onto Varang. He's extremely tanky and just doesn't mind the damage that these 2 players are putting out onto him.
Yeah, it's an awkward fight for TMG. I feel like that was an angle where you get the Drake and then just run out instead. Deli looking way too overconfident, gives over a kill to Galadrim, and Stupid Goober's able to pick up one too. But first Drake is over to TMG. The solo kill in top feels nice. So at the end of the day, it's not really that harmful. I would really want to know, can we go to Ornn, click on him, and then click the arrow on his profile to show how many grasp stacks he's actually got? It's next to the movement speed.
He
has 0. Awesome. He hasn't procced it once in 7, nearly 8 minutes. He hasn't procced it once. Really valuable summoner rune, guys. Woo!
It is maybe not the it is not ideal for Molly Watts. I mean, it's the green rune tree that I'm forgetting.
It's the green, yep.
Yeah, it's the green rune tree. It's not about the keystone, even though you could have
Resolve,
something. Yeah, Resolve is the word I was looking for. Anyway, we've got a fight in the bottom lane. Ethereal Ice going to be caught, but Stupid Goober has arrived. Deli taken very low. Empowered auto attack dropping on Deli. Not quite enough, but the roll forward at the final hour is, I say that Galadrim had not hit level 6, my mistake. But all the while, moving to the bot lane opens up the top for Team G Demon Hunters to take the grubs.
Yeah, this is very fundamental gameplay that TMG kind of make a mistake on, where you want to play aggressive on the side that your jungler is on, and passive on the side that your jungler is not on. And you see bot lane of TMG walk up, the jungler is on the top side, stupid goobers down on the bot side, and they take a tumble. Pun intended there. But a really nice kill over to Galadrim, as you're feeling confident on the Vayne, as I wasn't that happy with it. But, I'm happy to be proven wrong.
Not quite the full way to that Blade of the Ruined King just yet, but the pull back from Terps. Finds Aspect Legend, Obliterate not beating it smart, but one thing that I am a little bit impressed by, if we're talking about the farm, is the fact that Molly Wops, despite everything, has been able to keep up with Brain in terms of farm.
Nice electrocute proc, did about 50 damage there in the mid lane.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but yeah, the first items will be coming through quite soon for TMG. We've got Malignance in the mid lane. You've got the Yuntal on the bot side. I'm pretty sure that's Stridebreaker for Elves. That would make the most sense to me. But yeah, I really haven't seen the ghost value just yet. Maybe there's some fight tech here when you're against like Vayne and Kha'Zix and they're sprinting after you. You just want to be really fast. But I feel like maybe you just go TP and then, movement speed boots maybe is enough there. But Galadrim's going to tank a ace in the hole there. Won't do that much, but... Oh, wait, grass proc! Oh my god!
He's got the grass proc. We also found the knock onto Brain, who is Isolate Call of Forge God, drops, landing its way onto the Annie, and that will be the kill for Stupid Goober, but can he get out with no health? The knockup finds its way up, Olive's the target, but it's going to be a little bit too far from Stupid Goober, and now that'll be returning the way of Team G Demon Hunters, but we don't stop there. Terp's going to send Aspect Legend to the Death Realm, and the Obliterate finds the target as he gets another solo kill on the Mordekaiser.
Delhi was also killed out by Galadrim. Delhi was trying to path up the river there right at the end and was taken down. Really ego play from Delhi so far during this game. You win with your support in lane. If you're walking through the jungle by yourself as a Caitlyn, you are going to die to Vayne every time. I mean, Final Hour was used, but didn't even need to be used, right? You just lose that regardless. But yeah, really not seeing the ghost value right now. Flashed away from Tsubigoba, put down Tibbers on top. It was a really nice play, and the Nocturne ult nearly allowed Vrang to live, but the Call of the Forge God was well placed, and, bit of a guess there, but still nice. Some kills over to GSP, but TMG ended up winning on the play outside of that solo kill. First items, like I was talking about now, coming through. So Alves still a little bit far away from that Stridebreaker, but Malignance, Rylai's in the top lane, the Yuntal being finished on the other side, Eclipse being finished, Hollowed Radiance, and the Bork being finished too. So pretty strong across the board. Obviously, this Mordekaiser is putting a really big dampen in the top lane. The build path from Aspect Legend has been quite awkward for me. You've got a Hex Drinker early, but also you're going Lethality.
The charge
Stunned against the wall.
Finds the Vayne.
Wow.
Galadrim deleted by Delhi. Didn't even need the help of Wolves.
That was beautiful play there, Vrang. Looking onto Stupid Goober. Dragon is spawned, so it looks like TMG just going to start it.
They'll start that, but to Aspect Legend, Hexdrinker already popped by Terps without any sort of damage in return. This and Bess are really struggling in the top lane so far.
What do we got here for the Soul? As it'll be a Chemtech Soul. So we high rolled the first starting three. I think Aspect Legend might just be dead here.
Oh, public
nice buffer.
Does drop. Does stop the Obliterate. Survives the first one, and a tower shot drops dash forward. The shield's in time. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Galadrim gets a kill on the Delhi through that gank. We've got a fight in the bot lane. Shy Bishan will be claimed by Stupid Goober. We're going to take a step back to look at what exactly happened. The minion with the snare and the Pop Blossom locked up Delhi forever. And there was just nothing Shy Bishan could do afterwards. Really good setup from Ethereal Ice to be able to get those 2 kills in the bottom lane.
You gotta count your minions, guys. It's a Nico. But again, it's a bit of a overstep from the bot lane of TMG when their jungler is not around. Unfortunately, falling down, another kill over to Gladrum, and Super Goober on this Kha'Zix has had a really good start to this game, 3-1 on this Void creature. But yeah, I think the TMG overall have had better team fights when they're connected together, and nearly Aspect finding a solo kill back, but I'm going to chalk that up to Terps playing that pretty poorly. Took a couple of tower shots and should still be winning that in the top lane. But the individual members of GSP are just fighting back better. This Ornn has been completely uncontested on this clear, even with Annie, so has gone the lane for basically for free. This Vayne has, taken some falls a couple of times, but gotten some nice important kills, and Super Goober on this Kha'Zix after a great start. There's Paranoia.
Paranoia dropped, and that will be a very low Vayne, but Glacial finds the condemn onto the wall for Shy Bishan. The trade will be going to the Vayne, but not at the cost of the first tower. Deli could be in a bit of trouble. Mollywop's flashing over the wall. Called Forge God not finding his way onto anybody, but Stupid Goober will find an isolated target and does so much damage on the Kha'Zix. That'll be a 4th kill for Stupid Goober.
I have no idea what I'm watching. Why are we Nocturne ulting in between, just outside of tier 2 tower when Caitlyn is just standing there taking the tower? I think that TMG just are really over-aggressive and are making these big mistakes that are another kill over to Vayne, another kill over to Kha'Zix, where you've got 2 dragons. Just stack the dragons, guys. Just please stop sending it so aggressively. It's honestly kind of frustrating me to watch. I understand you're getting outscaled. Was that another grass proc there? Oh my goodness, so. It might have been.
He's getting the health
Holy.
From those grass procs, but all the while, a bit more important, bot lane tier 1 with those extra kills awarded to the side of GSP does manage to allow them to take the bot lane tier 1, but does free up the Rift Herald to be picked up by TMG Demon Hunters.
And that'll be a nice bounty in the pockets of TMG, and obviously able to use that on a tower. I'd love it to see a hold the Herald in mid in about a minute, maybe a minute and 20 seconds, just before the dragon spawns, push out the wave and maybe get the mid tower, rotate down to Drake, secure Chemtech Soul Point, and then relax a bit. But we'll have to see. Glacial tumbles forward and does quite a lot of damage with that. The Bork has been completed, and is that a experimental hex plate that's getting built next? That's pretty terrifying.
I think so. From the few Vayne games that I've seen so far, it seems like almost the standard these days for Vayne.
Looking it up.
Experimental hex plate next.
I'm looking it up.
So I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't be surprised if that is the experimental hex plate.
It's got some playtime. It's got some playtime. Pretty decent win rate, not a high playtime, but I guess Glacial feeling confident on the build itself. I like it. It's got, high win rate, 55 here, 55 or 56% win rate here, 50% here. So 58% here. It's got pretty good win rate, normally built a little bit later in the build, but seems to do pretty well when it is built.
Well, yeah, I mean, it gives exactly what Vayne wants. It gives her a little bit of extra survivability and AED, and on top of that,
ultimate haste is great.
Yeah, and not to mention the extra attack speed that you get when you ult is so huge to be able to get those silver bolts stacked up very quickly. And I understand the reasoning behind it. Oh, got Nico as a melee minion. Now there's before we get into that, all is flashing forward. We'll get the paranoia. Okay.
Did he flash for vision? He flashed for vision so that he could
because the vision line of the bush.
Well, here's Herald in mid.
Right, as you mentioned, with the Drake spawning up a little bit later than you would have originally liked Geppetto, but they do spawn it up now to try to force a response from GSP. We're on the wrong side of the map, and now TMG Demon Hunters have found their way onto the Drake, down to about half HP at this point, 5k, 4k, and it does look like Glacial Spectre are just going to give up the 3rd Drake.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting one there as Terps rotates down, has the TP available, so can come back. Aspect Legend late on the clear, isn't able to. Here's Pop Blossom.
But it's a huge Pop Blossom from Ethereal Ice onto 3. Poppy will knock away only 1, but not sure how much that matters. It's a very big play from GSP. Deli does a decent amount of damage in return, but only just that. Really well played by Ethereal Ice.
Yeah, the Herald crashing in mid, but TMG want a bit more than just the crash. They overchase, and again, caught by the Pop Blossom of Ethereal Ice. She's had a great set, honestly, so far, but the Nico performance has been really comfortable, it looks like, in my opinion, and I hope that continues forward. But the biggest issue here is this Kha'Zix 6-1. Building into, I believe, the Black Cleaver, could be the Shojin, so nearly up to 2 items on this Kha'Zix, and you need to continue on with this gold lead on a champion like this who doesn't have any CC, any setup, and even if you're Nocturne, you've got a little bit more. Tangle Bombs will hit.
Snare finds its way onto Deli. Ethereal Ice picking up their second kill of the game. Involved in 11 of the 12 kills. Everywhere she goes, blood is spilled by TMG Demon Hunters.
Yeah, you gotta give props to Ethereal Ice. She's playing really well, but at the same time, you gotta count your minions, guys. This has been happening more than once now. Need to not get caught by that. I think Deli's been playing really over-aggressive on this Caitlyn, and I understand, like, you want to win lane as Caitlyn, but when you're playing with a Poppy, you don't really win lane against Nico, right? It's more support dependent, so just keep the range going, you know? Keep the range at a distance. Play the long fight instead of looking for these all-ins, which you will lose, as the 2 items have been completed by Stupid Goober and a full Dirk as well. Very strong on this Kha'Zix. Aspect Legend has basically just been trapped in the top lane the entire time, has managed to do okay in this lane now, stalled it out just a little bit, where, you know, you're still losing pressure, but not getting solo killed anymore. Caitlyn will take down that mid tower, but the winning condition here for TMG is the fact that in 2.5 minutes, they do have Chemtech Soul. Not the most favored Soul, but still very strong, especially with a Mordekaiser, with a Poppy. Feels really nice with a Nocturne too. So GSP, fighting positions around this Atacon, maybe an option for them, but in 2 minutes, they're going to need to take a fight of all members here. You want Aspect Legend down at that point. You can't be giving over this Drake, as you know, that might spell just too much of advantage for TMG to overcome.
Yeah, Terps would be absolutely massive with that Chemtech Soul, and as they are only 1 Drake away, it would be obviously an extremely high priority. I mean, already with about 1 minute and 45 seconds to go, 3 members are on the bottom half of the map from TMG Demon Hunters. They're committing so much to be able to try to set up for this Drake, even this early on.
Well, some resets coming through across the board now as Galadrim takes a base, Stupid Goober takes a base. 1 minute on this Soul for TMG should be what all of their attention is on. You can't be giving it over if you're GSP. You really can't be losing it if you're TMG either.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned with the recall of Galadrim, they do come back with that experimental Hex Plate complete. It's a very big item for them to finish right before this Drake fight. Obviously, as soon as he pops that final hour, his attack speed will soar through the roof. And we'll be able to proc those Silver Bolts pretty easily, but Terps now Blurate down onto Aspect Legend doesn't really do all that much damage with the Hex String completed if it's not isolated. Aspect Legend actually kind of starting to feel okay in this 1v1.
Yeah, quite an interesting build here from Aspect Legends. I'm not a huge fan of lethality on Ambassador. I think she does so well with Eclipse, but the Serpent's Fang, watch out, there's a minion around, count them. The Serpent's Fang build start from Aspect Legends is a really interesting one into the shielding from the entire team of TMG. It's actually quite good against Chemtech Soul as well. Terps has already rotated down again, so not TPing As here comes the TP from Aspect Legend to match. This is a very important Drake, and he's pushing down the bot lane, and GSP have control of all of the river. Try to walk in here and contest some of this vision, as it has been set up previously by GSP, but Galadriel, pretty scary. Stupid Goober, also pretty scary. As these Ornn item upgrades are starting to come through now. Black Cleaver has been upgraded. Terps misses the pull.
Can't find anyone, but TMG Demon Hunters now fully into the river, and now Delhi can set up the line of traps that Caitlyn is so famous for. It's very difficult to be able to walk into this champion, and so GSP has to take a long way around, but this objective take isn't necessarily all that fast from TMG Demon Hunters. Call the Forge God is dropped, finds its way onto two Terps left, isolated Pop Blossom not quite finding the mark, and now it's a little bit too far forward from Aspect Legend. Meanwhile, Glacial trying to 1v1 Terps, but all the while, Delhi is very low. Can he get away from Stupid Goober? No, he cannot. The Strangle Barb's not quite going to find the CC, but it won't matter. Glacial survives the 1v1 Shy Bishan, the target, and only Olves is left alive for TMG Demon Hunters, left so low that he cannot contest, and GSP survived the fight against TMG.
TMG's damage is so bursty with the Annie and the Nocturne. Aspect Legend goes in and basically sacrifices himself to get a better team fight, because Tibbers is put on top of him. The Steadfast Presence is used to interrupt the dashing, ground him, and basically just insta-kill this Embessa, but then so many of the important tools from TMG have been used, and Galadriel just remains unchecked the entire fight. There's no one who can stop this Vayne from going off after the Steadfast Presence has been used. The Keeper's Verdict wasn't able to land.
Final hour will be used. Can Galadriel 1v1 Olves, but the fear drops, and now the rest of TMG Demon Hunters arrive. Galadriel not showing any potential respect for Olves and Delhi, and they didn't take the Otacon after that fight, so it's still up and available. No Vayne might be the trigger that TMG Demon Hunters want to go for that one. They find Stupid Goober caught out as well. Paranoia dropped, and that will be this bug squashed almost certainly. Stupid Goober won't quite be feared. Molly Wops is here. Olves down to half HP, so is Ethereal Ice. That's quite a bit of damage from the Orb, but the Pop Blossom finds nobody, and Ethereal Ice flashes away.
Yeah, a bit of an awkward end there for Ethereal Ice, as Stupid Goober is nearly caught out and would have died. That would have been a devastating path there, as Baron had spawned only a minute earlier. But yeah, Galadriel, I don't know if that was a caster curse or just some overconfidence, has been the kind of theme for the ADCs in this series so far. Walks forward by himself, and just kind of takes a fall, right? You know, there's the experimental hexbait that has been completed, but the fear lasted so long from Elves that there's nothing you can really do when your team isn't around. I mean, look, I'm an ADC player myself, but we got to stop with this ADC ego of, like, when I'm with my support, I'm unkillable, and then as soon as I'm by myself, I feel like I'm unkillable, and actually I'm very killable, and then I die immediately after my support leaves. Like, come on, guys. This can't be continuing to happen. But either way, nice kill over onto Elves, I believe, got the kill there. But I'm still... TMG is still getting really outscaled as the Ornn items continue to come through. Bork being upgraded now for Galadriel, and I believe that's the Rage Blade getting built now for GSP. Very, very strong item for Vayne, but Otacon getting pinged out.
Yeah, pings towards the Otacon are there. There are definitely quite a few members of GSP on this side of the map. Just 4, but there's the 1v1 in the top lane, so it would be a 4v4 should any fight break out. Teleports available for both Terps and Aspect Legend, so they can also join in should things go awry. But no hard commit from either team towards this Otacon just yet, and probably a bit wisely so.
And yeah, lots of ints around the world have been happening around this nightmare objective. But I saw a thing the other day, and I don't know how real this is, whether it's like a perceived win rate, you know, therefore you play better. But Otacon has one of the highest win rate increases when being secured, like, which is ridiculous to think. I don't I don't personally feel that it's like worth losing the game over, but I guess some teams really do. And when you're able to utilize the exploding passive, when you're able to get like a ton of flowers off of it, but yeah, teams will literally lose the game instead of just giving the objective sometimes. It's gotten a bit better, but there was a time where, yeah, really, really rough. But still, again, this is what happens when you're on Soul Point. 1 minute, and you're back in the exact same position. Soul Point for TMG. So this next Drake is still a one you have to fight for GSP. The fight went very convincingly for them last time. What if TMG got to supplement the fight this time? I think maybe Death Realm onto Glacial might be an option. Trying to target out this Vayne, and then what are you going to do about the Kha'Zix? It's a really tough call to how you want to take this fight. As some resets come through for Orm here, does he have Jack Show finished in base? No, it doesn't look like just yet. Not finished there, but has finished the Fimbulwinter, and these upgrades continue to come through as only 30 seconds until this Drake spawns.
Not the Jack Show build, I don't think. Because isn't it the chain?
Is that the Unending Despair one? Oh, you're right. It is the Unending Despair one. There it is.
Despair, and there it is completed. Yeah. So.
Boom. All right.
Right on cue, because Orm does not need to return to base. Get those items. We'll get
True.
Full one. Narrow on to ult. That's just a clone of the Nico. Not gonna find much else, but Drake is spawned now, and as you mentioned, this is Soul Point. Just one slip up from GSP means it will be the Chemtech Soul dropping teleport.
That's aggressive.
Coming through, but the public execution finds its way onto Deli, completely isolating him. The fear will keep the ADC alive, and now the paranoia is dropped to find a way in, but Olv's not going to use it to jump forward. Terps now the target. The Pop Blossom on the 3! Another really big Pop Blossom from Materialize, but instead of the follow-up available from GSP, that will be the bug getting squashed by TMG Demon Hunters, and it looked like a really good angle for Glacial Spectre, but the damage just wasn't there, and Terps is so big. Triple kill for the Mordekaiser, and that'll be the soul going to the Demon Hunters.
Yeah, there were some really big parts of that. Again, Aspect Legend goes in very early to try to separate up the fight and pull some of the important cooldowns out of TMG, but really, not a whole lot get pulled out that time. Instead, Terps pulls it, turns around, and into the Death Realm. Galadrim uses the final hour way too early, in my opinion, and then doesn't have it for the second half of the fight because Terps just cannot die. All of that anti-shielding is on Aspect Legend. The Pop Blossom was huge, really good find from Ethereal Ice, which she goes in completely alone. And unfortunately, there's just no follow-up off of that ult. Stupid Goober again goes in, trying to find some isolated targets, but they're not isolated, right? TMG play very well together. That's Chemtech Soul over to TMG and Atakan as well. Can we take a look at the flowers that TMG have got? Some of the differences here. What's GSP got in terms of flowers, as we might be able to have a look at that a little bit later. But yeah, really good position now for TMG. The gold hasn't really ballooned that much out of control. Vayne has completed the Rage Babe, which is a really important item, normally the second item on the Vayne, as it allows the W passive to proc twice, which is really, really strong. But, you're up against Chemtech Soul. So despite the gold being basically even, getting the gold stats from there and the gold stats from the pedals as well. Baron maybe on the menu here as Terps finds Mollywops in the bot lane.
Yeah, and Terps is very big, but equally this Orm's probably not going to take all too much damage. It'll be a slow burn onto Mollywops, but the slow from the Viralized Crystal Scepter means that this goat isn't going anywhere. Going to try to dash away. Good use of the Bellows Breath to be able to buffer the pullback. It's going to be the Baron started up by TMG Demon Hunters. Terps doesn't have teleport to join this. Should they continue on this Baron, they do peel off not too long afterwards. It's almost taken down to half HP, but that's a decent amount of damage down onto the champions of TMG Demon Hunters. Mollywops now arriving with the teleport, perhaps a little bit early to that, opting not to recall first, so is only at half HP themselves, but that does allow Terps in the bottom lane time to be able to come through. Paranoia is going to be popped. Is there a way in for Olves and Jungler. The knock away from the Poppy will mean that is an even numbered fight. Deli gets the first kill onto Molly Wops. It's the perfect way in. Galadriel's low, burning down. That will be the kill for Shy Bishop, and that is a huge fight for TMG Demon Hunters. Going to be able to pick up the Baron. Thank you for the leash. Ethereal Ice is the only one left alive, and they'll look to potentially end the game.
Yeah, GSP take a panic Baron start, but just get absolutely obliterated by TMG. I think Alves got knocked up by the Baron as he went and took the Paranoia, but Tibbers was beautiful. The Keeper's Verdict knocked away Ethereal Ice, who had the ult up, so that's why she's still alive. Really nice target selection there. And Galadriel just can't get off to that fight we saw earlier, that one fight from Vayne where she really popped off and took over the fight. This time, Deli in a great position, is able to win out on that matchup, but not over just yet. TMG still have the Chemtech Soul plus the Baron, the 3 grubs. This game is 99% over. Elder is in 2.5 minutes, so for GSP, you're really hoping to get to that part of the game. But TMG should have full control over the map for the next, minute and a half until this Baron wears off. So should still have enough time to get some more on the map.
Yeah, it allows them to push in these ways, allows them to set up this Elder Drake, which would absolutely be game-ending if TMG Demon Hunters manage to claim it, and it'll be very difficult for GSP to be able to move in. The amount of, hold on, this will be Ethereal Ice caught out by Shy Bishop.
Ooh,
going to force the flash out of the Nico. Paranoia going to drop. Rain gets the kill onto Aspect Legend off screen. Going to assume with the sun coming through. Deli going to use his 90 caliber net to get away from stupid Goober, who has to scurry away himself. Bot lane tier 2 getting claimed, but the Tangle Barbs find the right onto Olves. Called the Forge God will be interrupted by Shy Bishop. Very good use of the Steadfast Presence to be able to prevent that huge ultimate coming through. So now moving the right onto the bot lane tier 3 to open up the inhibitor is TMG Demon Hunters, but the Pop Blossom only finds Terps. Then it will send Galadriel to the Death Realm, who immediately deleted it. It wasn't Galadriel who was sent to the Death Realm, it was Ethereal Ice, which isolated Galadriel. And so now the rest of GSP is the target for TMG Demon Hunters. The flash forward from Molly Wallops will only get the 1, but it won't quite matter. Olves is actually killed by that, but stupid Goober is the response, and now there's no one left for TMG or for GSP. Actually, I say that, of course, right as Aspect Legend respawns, but that will be game 2 going the way of TMG Demon Hunters, sending us to game 3.
Yeah, very well executed team by some Demon Hunters, and that was kind of the storyline that I was going with at the beginning, where GSP have the superior mechanical players, but Demon Hunters seem to just do better on the map, and they ended up throwing a couple of the fights, but come back later with some well-executed team fights. And, Annie does top damage, so who am I to say that the Ghost didn't get value?
Yeah, and it really was a team fighting that did so much for TMG Demon Hunters. It was very even until they all had to group for 5, and then at that point, TMG Demon Hunters very, very convincingly won most of those fights at very important objectives. And as soon as they got the soul, as well as the Otacon on top of that, there's just nothing that Glacial Spectre could do.
Well, going into the final game now, I think that looking at this series so far, you've got to be careful about picking these things like Vayne and Kha'Zix. They're very flippy in these fights, and Super Goober had a great game, right? Went off to a great start with the KDA, with all these kills in the early game, and had a bunch of gold, completed 2 items very early on, had the Ornn upgraded Black Cleaver, but then you go into these fights and Nocturne just does
And we are back for the final draft of the night between TMG Demon Hunters and Glacial Spectre, and what has been a very exciting series so far, Gebetto.
Yes, and very back and forth in both games. I think that going into this third game, either team really has a chance. I think that the drafts have had some weaknesses, and that the winning team has been able to root out that weakness in a good way. So, when you're drafting a comp that has a weakness and it goes unpunished, that leads to, bad habits. So it's actually kind of good for both teams to have these things punished. In that last game, maybe just unfortunately some of the champions too far out of the meta with the Kazakhs and the Vayne. I'm interested to see how we go. I was talking earlier in the stream, and like I said, I've been talking quite a lot this week about it. The fact that it's nearly been a full year of Fearless, so teams have had quite a lot of time to expand their pools, to work on how they approach Fearless drafting, and I'm really excited to get into later on the end of this year's best of fives to see really what is the conclusion, the apex to going around this drafting style and how players have felt around it. But yeah, there's still a whole ton of really solid things up. I still think Oriana's available, which is really, really strong. Yeah. Jarvan's available, Wukong's available, Xin Zhao's available, Pantheon's available. Like, it's ridiculous how much actually good stuff's up. All the engaged supports. In the bot lane, Jhin, Ashe is still available, although Ashe was banned last game and Aphelios has been banned every game. You've still got things like Sion that are available that have really been taking over the game in the top lane. So a ton of high priority picks still up.
Also important to note, for the first time tonight, Glacial Spectre are on the blue side. They'll be picking first this time around, changing things up after that loss this time around. So things open. Obviously, as you mentioned, Wukong still available, one that's really popular in the meta. But I think with how Glacial Spectre have been drafting, kind of maybe got a thing that meta's not exactly on their minds, and perhaps we get to be surprised with who they pick first.
Well, yep, these bans have remained much the same. The Rumble, the Aphelios, and the Karma, and the Ashe, and the Zyra. So far for both teams. There's the Wukong being banned away. So going down the list of priors, taking that jungler away. Again, there's still a ton of these Bruiser champions available. I mean, obviously priors in pro play. Oh, there's the Sivir. So that's something that is still available. I'm not sure about it first pick though, because I think that you can just pick something like a Jhin, be feeling happy and the lane goes fine, or you can match the scaling, go something like the Yunara or the Zeri was the other thing I was going to touch on, but Yunara picked away. These are two really high prior ADCs. They've fallen out a little bit in the best of ones at Worlds that I've been watching, but still very, very strong. Volibear picked up by TMG, a lot of early game focused in the jungle. What did TMG have into that? Jarvan doesn't get the most value against the Yunara, but Cassante.
Cassante, okay. I mean, finally something a little bit standard from Glacial Spectre. Yeah. It's also a bit of a takeaway from Terps as well. I know Terps is a very big fan of the Cassante. Nice. So being able to pick that one up, not giving it to TMG Demon Hunters is quite a good choice. And it's one of the things that I have enjoyed from the GSP drafts so far, is that a lot of their picks have been not only some for themselves, but equally takeaways from TMG Demon Hunters.
Now, I'm feeling a Braum angle here for GSP because they need a little bit more melee characters to help with the Sejuani passive. I don't like going towards a Yone here in the mid lane for GSP. They could go a Sylas. I think you need more AP damage because with the Cassante in the top, the Sivir in the bot lane, you've got enough AD. I want a mage. I'm happy with the Oriana if you still want to go towards something like that, or the Rise, or anything like that. So I think then Braum is pretty good for TMG. I think that going your mid laner here is probably the best choice, and then leaving your support to the end. With this team comp, I think you need a little bit more scaling, maybe some control as well, which is kind of Oriana and Rise. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Victor works.
Victor,
good amount of scaling. Some good control there too. Not the most high prior, but definitely fits that role.
Yeah, obviously, as the game goes on, he gets so much range and so much damage that he could put out safely. But the response is the Anivia. We've been waiting for some. GSP have pulled out something crazy in every single game. It was looking a little bit normal for them for the first time, but
yes,
pull out the Anivia and the Braum as you were looking for. Yeah,
Braum the triple Freljord.
I mean quadruple if you want to include the
Nah?
No, that's pushing. That's pushing. Is that from the Freljord? Actually, is he? Maybe.
Well, he's a ancient. We're gonna touch that on a second. He's an ancient. What's his name? What are they called? Yordle.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he was frozen. I'll have to look that up while when we get into the game a little later. But a Vel'Koz support here for TMG. Are Zap enjoyers unite?
I mean. I guess I get it. It's a relatively short range bot lane from Glacial Spectre, and so with Vel'Koz you can just keep them at arm's length and go no. And I suppose would be the reasoning behind it, but that's I mean yeah, like I don't even know. I don't quite know. It's different. It's different.
So it's quite good into the Braum, right? And you're matching range against the Anivia, which is obviously something you want to do. But the thing is that the Vel'Koz is one of the hardest champions in the game to get as much value as another champion, right? So like with Braum, not that you don't have to be good because you do, but it's a lot easier to get value up against the front line from TMG. Volibear walk in, the Yunara tries to do something. The Braum is there to proc the Sejuani passive with the Sejuani and then get his own stun off as well. There's a ton of CC from GSP. But Shibishan can really take over this game with the Victor and the amount of range that they can produce if the geometry has been practiced, right? If Shibishan's been in his room studying these angles and, got his protractor out and everything, then, the Vel'Koz can look really, really strong, but it can also look really, really useless if you're not able to land the appropriate abilities at the right time. Like the champion doesn't have anywhere near as much as even like a Karma would.
Yeah, and it's definitely if you don't land the poke on the Vel'Koz, it's almost completely worthless in lane, which is my main concern. It's definitely on Shibishan to be able to land his skill shots and be able to poke out Ethereal, Ice, and Galadrim. At the very least, this is definitely the lane to be able to do that in.
So update, Na is indeed from Freljord. Even though he's a Yordle, he was frozen. He was frozen by the true ice in Freljord. So he is from the same region. So we've got quite a lot of Freljord champions here. We've got Sejuani, Anivia, and Braum. And on the other side, we've got Volibear and Na. Ashe has banned away, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least it was earlier. So, I mean, these teams happy to go towards the Freljord champions right now.
Yeah, and I mean, back in my day in TFT, when you had, I think it was 5 Freljord champions. I forget, what did that do in the very first set? I don't remember. It was like stuns, something. Anyway, just the exact number we happen to have now.
Ooh. Oh,
okay. All right. Okay. I'm just traumatized by the amount of times that we've lost. That we've lost a few games before it freezes like that. But no, we're okay. We're fine.
Streamer mode
now. Yeah.
Turn off streamer mode, guys. Don't have it happen. I had a few games this week that were just unusable because someone wanted to put on some streamer mode. But again, another game where scaling will trump, obviously. The Volibear, the Na, the Yunara do pretty good in the early game, but hold on. Here come Alves down to the bot lane. Doesn't have ult, so we can't turn off the turret.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Well, that's an early all-in.
We'll get the stun onto Mollywops. One more auto attack is all he needs, but the egg is enough to keep Mollywops alive, and the minions finish off rank. First blood to Mollywops. We're not done just yet. The Volibear E lands its way onto 2, but he's very low. Galadrim's auto attack will get a second kill for GSP, and now the Winter's Bite down onto Deli, but he has the berry. Is enough to stay alive? No, it is not. Feats of Warfare go the way of GSP just under 4 minutes in.
Well, Isaac, we had 2 really slow starts. That second game was really slow, in fact, but now instantly 3 kills. Feats of Warfare, like you mentioned, over to GSP already. Going with their name, the ice theme of their brand.
Looking for another one. The wall alters Vrang's exit. Not quite enough, though, to be able to take him down.
Bit of poke down from Vrang on the other side, but nice electric proc from Mollywops. Stupid Gibber's got to be careful, as Volibear with the health advantage would most likely win that. But yeah, I don't want to say it was a knowledge shift, because you have to know that ASOL has passive there. No, ASOL, Anivia has passive there. But
they both start with A. It's okay.
They're also both flying, you know, whatever. I'm coping. -1. But yeah, taking that all in, like 1-for-1ing yourself when Anivia has passive up is like a massive mistake. And then Braum Sivir early game is really, really nice. The Braum gets so much value from the concussive blows. Shielding just does so much against Vel'Koz in these shorter trades. When Vel'Koz has time to poke you out and chip down that health bar, the all-in from Vel'Koz, like the one-shots, if there are any as-up enjoyers around, that only happens minimum after ult, but you need like 1 or 2 items before that can happen. But now, it's only poke, and Braum will easily win out in that short trade. Dragon spawn now in the bot side as TMG take a favorable trade in the bot side, as the junglers continuing on their clear pathing down to the bot side as well. It's going to be a AP start for Alves on this Volibear.
Yeah, one that we see a decent amount these days. Pathmaker will stop the stun from Terps. But they'll be fine. Actually, Nari's tried to get Aspect Legend away. All out on the level 6 trade. Forces the flash away from Terps. And actually, no flash on Terps is very favorable to GSP.
Well, junglers have found each other on the bot side, or at least GSP have found Alves in the bot side as Stupid Goober finishes up his clear. So neither team opting to take the rush on the Dragon, although Alves is around and maybe pulling it out of the pit just a little bit, just some scouting. But Terps loses Flash. This is a matchup that should be winning for the Gnar in the early game. But Aspect Legend, no ult, might be poured out of position a little bit here. Here's Stupid Goober down the bot lane, doesn't have level 6.
Not going to be slowed by Deli. The way that Sejuani works is she's not slowable. Galadrim going to get yet another kill. 3-0 on the Sivir already with the BF sword. Going to be even bigger now after that kill.
Yeah, Slurkle not doing a whole lot there, but the Drake is up, and Alves up in the top side of the jungle. Should mean that the Dragon should go pretty easily over to GSP, although Stupid Goober wants to path near the mid lane first, maybe just get some information before now starting up the Drake as Rang takes a reset.
And I'm honestly really impressed with how Glacial Spectre has played out this early game so, near flawlessly. I don't want to call it an upset just yet, because we're only 7.5 minutes in, but coming into this series, I had this marked as a really quick 2-0 for TMG Demon Hunters, yet here we are. Glacial Spectre up 1.5k. It's 8 minutes more closely to now. I'm concerned. I'm concerned for TMG Demon Hunters.
Yeah, I am also, but TMG have had some good team fights in the set so far, and GSP have made some mistakes. Realistically, they not only won, but won most of that first game due to a hero steal from Mollywops. The game 2 was also, they had a lead and then they started to lose it eventually. TMG fighting back here by getting the grubs.
I'm going to be up there immediately at 8 minutes. Going to be able to get all 3 in that little extra push, but Oh, wait, hold on. Straight to the bottom lane. Shy Bishan is the target. Glacial taken very low, though. Relatively even trade, slightly advantages the side of GSP, which I would say is kind of a bit of a win for TMG's bottom lane, considering the item disparity in said lane.
Yeah, really nice on Siva to be able to get a first item base BF sword that she had. And now you can see the full Yuntal upgraded, which is devastating for the bot lane now. So that trade was even, maybe slightly favored to GSP after, and Delhi and Shy Bishan did need to use both of their combat spells, right? The barrier and the heal. So now how's that trade going to look, right? You've still got 3 minutes until this next streak. So enough time for Delhi to get that Kraken online. So should be okay. As Aspect will catch Terps and a bit more value out of the grasps this game, I think.
Yeah, and actually does have the Q3 coming up. Just try to throw the Terps back around the Glacial Prison. Just going to come up a little bit short, but the charge forward still finds Rank Flash over the wall. The stun drops. Is there enough damage to get the victor? The tower shots come through, and Stupid Goober and Mollywops are just going to have to back away before they can kill Rank. But all the while, Terps extremely no flash over for Aspect Legend. One more auto attack is all he needs. Solo kill for Aspect Legend. Goes 5-0 up to GSP.
Even though the play in mid ends up not resulting to a whole lot, it's still a very proactive play. They lose 2 flashes on GSP from Super Goober and Mollywops for Vrang's flash, so will be benefited in that trade. But Aspect Legend just finds a solo kill in the counter matchup. Remember, this was picked, like the Gnar was picked into the Cassante too, so you were well aware of how this lane was going to end up, who you're going to play against. But so far, Aspect Legend, who had quite a hard game last game on the Mbessa, is really putting in work this game. Vrang will find, or won't find the stun just enough to get out. I think Mollywops is dead there if he gets stunned.
Yeah, and Mollywops does have the egg for him. Will opt just to use it. He'll only get burned down fast enough. Respawns now. Stun comes through. Down to half HP once again. But fully utilizing the passive so far. Mollywops has really managed to pull that off.
Yeah, if it's up, you got to use it. You got to sacrifice the passive for some good trades there. Terps will find the ult into the wall, but Aspect Legend doesn't go down too far. Only a little bit under a half HP. Sorry, half HP there. But all in all, it's still a really solid game state for GSP, as the Dragon spawns in about 1 minute, and Delhi hasn't yet taken the base for this Kraken. Right now, Stupid Goober in the top lane clearing out the camps, so should be able to path down to the bot side very shortly. And you're in a great position for GSP to get this second Drake before Delhi has completed first item. When your jungler is on the same timer as you, Mollywops was able to reset as well, so has tier and nearly finished that rower. So pretty good position right now for GSP as both junglers start pathing down to the bot lane. Stupid Goober will be spotted on the ward.
Does have access to the Glacial Prison once again if they opt to use it. As you mentioned, they are spotted, and so Delhi and Shy Bishan will just back away. Wait for potential reinforcements from Olves, who is on the bottom side of the map, who will also equally be spotted on some wards, so I don't suspect too much will come from this play at all. But as you mentioned, Drake spawning in 10 seconds. Mollywops is able to recall, able to come back with a Rod of Ages completed, but that that item does take a little bit to really get its full value out of it.
Well, there's the Dragon spawn right now, and Chemtech Drake is the second Drake, so we got a very good chance. Sorry, we've got only like hardcore banger souls up next as Elves are spotted out.
Yeah, Ethereal Ice will be... Sorry, actually, Glacial will come through. Delhi transcends oneself, and the option is to move on to Ethereal Ice. But it's a really good Glacial Prison to stop the advance of TMG. Not quite enough damage to finish off Ethereal Ice, but will there be enough to get Stupid Goober?
Here comes the
Not
bird.
Quite. But the health bars are really low, and the stun finds lands into the flank from Mollywops. Doesn't actually quite find Delhi just yet, and 2 kills go the way of the victor. It's a very big shutdown. Stupid Goober taken low, taken down, but Shy Bishan will be the other target. The stun comes through, doesn't quite save the support Vel'Koz. That's going to be 2 shutdowns for Vrang.
It was originally a great fight for GSP as you can really see the value of a Braum in that fight where flashes back, holds up the shield, buys so much space and time for eventually Stupid Goober to make it over and take down the Volley Bear. But then, you know, Mollywops is pathing down, finds a flank behind, which kind of baits his team forward to take this fight. And Vrang gets a double kill first onto the bot lane of GSP. Then the fight continues. Yes, Mollywops gets some kills, but it's a triple kill, was nearly a quadra kill for Vrang, and the shutdown that Mollywops had gotten from some of those kills given over to Vrang. Again, we're back to some mid lane fighting for this, how this third game is going to go. We took a brief respite there for a quick Annie versus Ornn matchup, but now we're back to some kind of control mages and some late game carries. Super Goober around the wall, could look for engage here, but won't amount to a whole lot right now.
And doesn't have access to the Glacial Prison. Double stuns going either way in the mid lane. At this point in time, I think Vrang's definitely a lot stronger, having the Blackfire Torch available to him. Meanwhile, Mollywops is still stacking up the Rod of Ages and the Tier. Ethereal Ice would be knocked up, but not much else going on there in the bot lane.
It was the Mountain Drake, sorry, the Mountain Soul for this game, as the second Drake was secured, as the Slurkle will slow Galadriel quite a lot. Alves pathing down, sneaking into these lane brushes here. Does have flash and ult available. Standing on a pink now, looking, fishing, and here it comes.
No, the stun drops. The spell shield's way too late. Doesn't block anything. Deli gets that kill. Now the Stormbringer is called, the turret is canceled, Ethereal Ice has nowhere to go, and it'll be another kill for TMG Demon Hunters. And despite how the early game had gone for the Demon Hunters, they're doing well and good at this point in time, and have even taken a gold lead, but we're not done with fighting just yet. Terps is the target. Glacial Prison finds its way onto the Gnar. All out used by Aspect Legend to get some damage, gets the flash out of Terps, but it buys some time for Vrang to arrive. Rift Herald was the target earlier from GSP, but with how much damage went down onto Stupid Goober and Aspect Legend, they're just going to recall and give up this objective on this objective.
I mean, the story has maintained the same so far, Isaac, where GSP have superior laning, their mechanical ability seems very like a lot stronger in the lane specifically. But then the team fights start coming around, and TMG just really take them, as Terps just missed 2, and one of them was a cannon, but that's okay. But yeah, it's not only how they take the fights, but when they take the fights, who's around the fights, their team fight positioning is really strong. But it's still quite an even game, and like I've been saying so far this whole game, the scaling is in both teams' hands here. You obviously just need to get there, but 2 Drakes apiece. The 3 grubs were over to TMG. Herald has spawned, but I think neither team really wanted to send it too aggressively with a massive team fight just yet.
I don't want to exactly throw game 3, especially around the Herald being so decisive. But I mean, through everything, TMG Demon Hunters back in a gold lead, or actually say back as if they were in one before. I think at this point in time, I mean, it's going to take a little bit of a while for GSP to really come back to this one, especially with Vrang having the Blackfire Torch and the Magic Pin boots available to him. Meanwhile, Mollywops is going to take a lot longer, despite having those earlier kills, to get online as their Rod of Ages continues to stack. Shy Vision in the top lane gets a knock-up onto Aspect Legend. Can they burn them down? Yes, they do. Shy Vision going to get yet another kill. Also having access to the Blackfire Torch on this Vel'Koz. Going to be doing a decent amount of damage, but Herald is the target. They are pushed off it. Glacial Prison not quite finding Deli. Flash jump forward from the Braum. Ethereal Ice, I'm not sure about that one, but the Glacial Fissure finds its way onto Deli. The barrier drops. Is that enough to keep this Yunara alive? Maybe. It just might. They will finally get Deli, but at what cost? Galadriel is the target, is getting burned down, finally killed by Shy Vision, picking up his third for the game, but there's just quite a lot of tower shots and damage from Mollywops that manages to trade back the kill. Fights all across the lift, mid and jungle, but it's relatively even in terms of kills.
Yeah, it is, and it's a bit of a strange, awkward fight.
I want to see what's going on over in the river on the bot side of the map. A bunch of members really close. 2 kills for Vrang, who's going off looking for a third. I'd like to potentially get to see a replay on that one because the little we saw from it was very much the actions of Vrang coming through. See now.
Well, this is what we saw, right? And there's no dragon available. So I'm thinking there's no way there's no fight here, right? Vrang walks forward, Juba just completely misses and then decides to chase into death. It's, yeah, I feel like GSP have just continuously showed, in my opinion, that they're really not comfortable in team fights. Their lanes have been really excellent, especially this game. Their lanes are really, really strong. Last game was good too, but I don't know. In this game, in the series in general, there's no reason to fight at that mid lane. You're on Herald, taking Herald. Do not need to chase into the mid lane. Braum flashes to try to tag Yunara with his Q, and instead just sends the ult. Glacial Fissure doesn't really do a whole lot, and she does end up dying, but you have to chase so far in. Galadrim gets collapsed on by TMG. Mollyops is able to, pick up a kill on the back end of that, but Vrang is now 5-1 after another scuffle around that dragon pit that hadn't even spawned. Now it has, so Alves will be starting this up. You need to be careful because your team members aren't quite yet out of base, my friend. Mountain Soul, it is this game. Ethereal Ice has spotted it out, but no wards for GSP means that they don't even know that Vrang wasn't around. That would have been a really good time to collapse onto this dragon. You can see it's very dark. No one has vision of where the victor was, and for all you knew, he was there the whole time.
And so the Mountain Drake goes uncontested. Second Drake of the game to TMG Demon Hunters, but the response from GSP is to immediately move up to the Rift Herald to try to claim that back in return. And it will just be the trade of objectives and a potential way to try to open up the map a little bit more for... Oh, wait. Otacon just spawned. We just hit the 20-minute mark. Oh, wait. The response of TMG Demon Hunters is very on point. And it will be Delhi even committing the ults there on the Yunara to be able to burn it down as quickly as possible. GSP they weren't even aware that this was a possibility.
Yeah, really nice answer from TMG. GSP do get the top tower, and they are putting the Herald down to try to continue the push out and get a little bit more. Krogs get invaded as well, but the resets from TMG are coming through just a little bit up to the top. You're good. Oh, good. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Alves executes. Glacial Prison finds its way down onto the Vel'Koz. Shy Vision taken low, but not enough damage is there. He melts through everybody on the Vel'Koz support. I was questioning this pick, but it turns out I was wrong to do so. It does so much damage. Delhi cleans up the fight, and it's continued. Strong performance from TMG Demon Hunters. Despite how this early game went for them, they fought back in a big way.
Hold on, Vrang. Hold on. You don't need to do this.
Actually, hold on. Nah, Molly Wallace has the Sarah's Embrace.
Well, it's a game of lasers up in the top lane, and the lasers absolutely melt Glacial. Yeah, both Vrang and Alves did die to turrets. Vrang got the last hit by Mollywops, but effectively they both, ended up dying by their own position and moves. A bit of an awkward trade in the bot lane, but they did get quite a lot of turrets in the bot lane. GSP did get a few in trade at the top, so it's still a lead for TMG. They still have 2 Drakes to 1 and the 3 Grubs, but honestly, with how this game has been going, gold feels kind of irrelevant. We're taking fights everywhere and anywhere, and that's going to be the rest of the game. I don't know.
It's been, in general, this series has been, it's been extremely hectic. It's been great viewing, but not perhaps the most ideal play.
I can't imagine how the coaches feel.
I mean, from what I've checked, I don't even know if Glacial Spectre have a coach, but Driptide for TMG Demon Hunters definitely. I think someone might want to check up on him just in case he's had a heart attack. Just to be extra sure that that Driptide is in fact, doing okay, especially in this series, because I mean, coming into it, you have to feel that the expectation for TMG Demon Hunters, even though they are winning this game too and are looking more likely to be able to come away with the series, coming into this one, they were definitely the favorites and probably looking for a really quick 2-0, and we're not expecting to be here this long.
1.5 minutes on this Drake as Terps takes a reset, does have the TP available. No TP wards behind for either Vrang or Terps, who are just both going top lane, it seems. Maybe Terps opts in to go back down to the mid lane now. I think it's fine to go down to the bot lane, continue up that clear the bot wave, but we're getting a bit of an ARAM here at around 24 minutes. Both teams kind of fighting over air here. Still a minute of this dragon until it spawns. Good stun onto Alves, but yeah, this feels like a little bit of a performative show up to mid. You know, we're not actually going to fight, but maybe we will.
Of course, right as you say that, Alves goes forward, gets the sun onto Ethereal Ice, Glacial Fissure drops, and the Glacial Prison misses, and the response from Shy Vision drops a bunch of damage. Stupid Goober's too far forward for the rest of his team to follow, and TMG Demon Hunters take the fight brilliantly. Only Mollywalps is left alive, and he's not long for this world. At the very least, they'll get a shutdown onto Delhi, but at what cost? It's the ace to TMG Demon Hunters.
Beautiful fight there from TMG, but honestly, GSP, they just seem to have this, like, at around about this time in the game, they get really nervous, even though they have great scaling, and just say, okay, time to fight to the death. The game's decided right now. And unfortunately, they miss a whole lot of their abilities. Like, very notably, the Glacial Prison gets completely whiffed. But, like, you've got 2 items on Sivir and 3 on this Anivia now. You still scale more. Sivir needs more. She needs 5 items before you can take a fight like that, and you do still really need to hit your abilities. I'm really not... I think you've got enough engage with On the Hunt from Sivir, the stun from Mollywalps. It's like non-committal CC, but then you've got Sejuani and Cassante. I don't think you need to be flash engaging on Braum and sending this Glacial Fissure the same way over and over again, but Terps might be caught here. Glacial Prison not available just yet, so we'll be able to walk away with the movement speed from Gnar. No Trinity Force on Gnar this game, actually. Quite an interesting build. I've never seen Shojin Gnar before.
Yeah, that's definitely a unique interpretation of build from Terps. I'm trying to think about the reasoning behind going to Shojin instead of the Triforce. And then now my mind's perhaps a little bit too stuck on that, because if we take a step back, TMG Demon Hunters are still 6k up on soul points. So even if it isn't ideal, regardless, that's still going to help out a ton.
Yeah, it's still a good item. It's still, like, it's not bad on Gnar. I just think Trinity Force is kind of better. But honestly, Gnar's job this game is to rage at the right time, get some CC off, and fight Cassante in a side lane so that he can't get really far ahead. Shybishan leashing the Baron for maybe no reason here. Maybe baiting it as Aspect Legend's about to walk in.
Know that this bush is occupied. Death Bush not quite going to find the targets that they would have wanted. On the side of Team G Demon Hunters, we're trying to look to bait in Glacial Spectre into a disadvantageous fight, but instead they'll just clear out some wards and go on.
What
their
are Glacials in this game, huh?
Yeah, Glacial Spectre, Glacial Prison, Glacial Fissure. Am I missing anything else? I think that's it.
What's Anivia? I don't actually know Anivia's ability. Does she have a Glacial? Let me get this up. Anivia. Let's have a look here.
You might.
She has Glacial Storm is her ult, so we've got a lot of Glacials.
Okay, we got Glacial Storm. Yeah,
Glacial Storm, Prison, and Fissure, and
they're all on the same team.
So these guys have really locked in. Like, yeah, this is as lore accurate as you can get for the Glacial Spectre here. But Aspect Legend taking the worst end of this trade in top lane.
Oh, but Alves will find Ethereal Ice alongside Delhi. But now they're moving forward. Aspect Legend taking down Half HP. The Gnar finds its way onto 2, gets 2 stuns, and the Vel'Koz has arrived. Shy Bishan helps melt through the front line. Aspect Legend isn't long for this world either, and the rest of TMG Demon Hunters have arrived. This victory does so much damage. Double kill to Olves, and the rest of this fight is completely over. Triple to Olves. And it's just really well executed by TMG Demon Hunters. They're so far ahead in terms of gold. They're looking to potentially end.
I think they can. They've got 10 seconds on the spawn from Ethereal Ice, but that's a Braum. You really need to get the wave. If anything, they could opt for just the inhibitor here and back off to the Baron, but maybe wanting a bit more. No, it is going to be the reset here. Aspect Legend does have TP in 10 seconds, so could have been a bit scary with a TP behind, but not a whole lot of wards to TP too. This should just be a Baron starter, even with some of the low health bars. I think that the turn is still fine. It's being started up right about now. With Victor, with his burn build, and Yunara should go down really, really quickly. This is a great position for TMG. They've got Baron on 5 members. They've got 1 minute until Soul, so a perfectly timed Baron for a respawn, push out the waves, get the Soul, and then end the game. I will say this needs to be a clean end here from TMG because it's looking very much so like game 1, where instead in this position they lost Baron and then subsequently lost the game. So I need to see a clean round out of the game for TMG here.
One big difference between this and game 1 is that TMG Demon Hunters are 10k gold up. I don't think we even had a singular gold lead of 5k at any point during this series, so it's very much advantaged TMG Demon Hunters. Not only that, they picked up the Otacon earlier with that permanent buff. It would take a monumental throw of epic proportions that I have seen.
You're really
before.
trying to cast the cursor here. You're really trying.
Sometimes,
guys, it's completely unthrowable. Game is for sure over. And then insert LS Batman meme on Twitter. But Dragon spawns. This will be Sol and GSP. With the members split up across the map, I can't see a way that they get in. It's just defending against Sol and Baron is the option here, which is a tall task to ask.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we saw the Baron steal in game 1 from Mollywops, but I mean, they were allowed to get close, especially with how close that game was. But again, 10k up, TMG Demon Hunters now with the Soul on top of that. It would take a monumental throw of epic proportions, but it might just start here. Olves is the target. The Braum Unbreakable does stop a decent bit of victory damage, but the laser from Shy Vision does so much, but it is killed in return. Shut down for Glacial. Does manage to pick up 1, so it is currently a 1-for-1 trade as of now, but it's still a lot of firepower left on the side of TMG Demon Hunters, even though it's something little for GSP to get. Can they stop the advance of TMG Demon Hunters as they push in those bot lane? Gets the bot inhibitor as well. Super minions pushing in from the top lane. There's a lot to answer for GSP. Will split them up a little bit more. Glacial getting poked down by the Baron empowered minions, but the target now is just the mid lane from TMG Demon Hunters. That will be a slowed up Stupid Goober, a stun, but the Glacial Prison drops his way onto turrets, but he does get the Mega Gnar form to get the extra health. Vrang just zaps down Ethereal Ice, and now Mollywops is the next target, and just deleted immediately with how much damage there is available. TMG Demon Hunters. Vrang now the target. Aspect Legend not quite finding the stun on the Pathfinder, so we'll slow down a little bit more, but all inhibitors broken by TMG Demon Hunters. Still continuing their push. Can they get a little bit more? The Baron has ended, so they'll have to wait a little bit longer for the extra empowered super minions to find their way through, but Stupid Goober poked down to 1/3 HP by Vrang from a distance that GSP can't answer at all. The shield does pop and the Athenes, but not Athenes anyway. It won't quite matter. I mean, it's just been inevitable. We've been waiting for this one for a while. The Nexus is open. The Gnar finds its way onto me. It just seems to be a bit of a delay for game 3, going the way of TMG Demon Hunters. They finally get it, and they get it in convincing fashion in game 3.
And the iceberg is melted into a small little puddle at the end. A dominant performance in Game 3 from Demon Hunters from front to back. Game 1 was a good, solid performance, but a miracle steal from the Baron from Mollywops rounded it out in game number 2. It was superior team fighting from the Demon Hunters that ended up winning out on the game, and some poorly executed team fights on the other side for GSP. In game number 3, there wasn't a whole lot to say in terms of fight back for GSP. They kind of just rolled over. They took some aggressive fights in the mid lane, the ARAM that missed a whole lot of abilities, and Demon Hunters just look more confident in these scrappy team fights when abilities are missing and not the best played. Demon Hunters seem to be able to calm themselves down a bit faster and really execute the fights well.
Yeah, on one hand, like Glacial Spectre coming into this, like they with no expectations, and the fact they even took it this far is, I think, pretty impressive from them. But I mean, it's really gotta hurt when you're going up against what many would consider the number 1 team in Conqueror League to run the first 10 minutes the way they did. They were up 8-0 in terms of kills, I think about 2k gold at like 8 minutes. And to throw it away like that, to then have it be such a stomp from TMG Demon Hunters, it does kind of hurt.
It does for sure, but at the end of the day, there is no big upset, so TMG will be happy to win that game. And I think even though Vrang had a bit of the mid lane was a bit interesting in game 2. I think Vrang had an outstanding series on the Victor, and in game 1, it was the Syndra, I believe. No, that was Mollywops. He played the Mel. He played the Mel.
The Mel, right? Yeah.
The Mel. Yeah, great game on both of those.
Yeah, so I think that'll be it from us tonight here at Titan Esports. Thank you for tuning into an absolutely incredible series with the way it did. Congratulations to TMG Demon Hunters on the victory. And thank you, like I said, for tuning in. I've been Isaac. Alongside me is Ben Gebetto, working behind the scenes, bringing to you all the things on display, has been Shivam. And that'll be it from us tonight. We'll see you later.